Hello, I just like a few minutes ago took cookies out of the oven and I have like one. Basically, it's like a sheet cookie, so it's not in like pieces yet. But I only have one, so if at some point I leave to get more cookies, don't worry about it. Hi, Hannah. Hello, anyone else who's here. Let's pause the music if I can find it. Because I have a ton of links open. Great. Yeah, this is this is a super, super quick, like, a butter cookie with, like, 5 ingredients. It only goes in for, like, 12 to 15 minutes. If we didn't have a lot of ingredients, we only had 1 egg, so you know how it is. Great. This actually needs to be immediately turned down on my end because it is so loud. Sound mixer. I always recommend making cookies. All right, so we are on the last case of this game. We are on case 5, Attorney of the Arcane. Everything has gone to shit, and I'm really worried that our mom is dead or going to die in this case. So, I hope you're all ready, because Eris is fucking with us, and we're mad at our mom. So, do we assume this guy is the... Let's just play. I'm impatient. Let's find out what's going on with Tyrion. Yeah, we're on bad terms with Mom. We're having a really bad time. She showed us to the creepy place, and Eris was like, LOL, your mom used you. She doesn't care about you. LOL, no one's ever gonna love you, Tyrion. No one loves you. No one cares about you. No one gives a shit about you. No one wants to be your friend. No one likes you. You're just used by everyone. He's having a good time. I killed people. They were usually criminals or bandits, but it still frightened me how unaffected I was by their deaths. It always came so easily to me. I was good at it. A little too good. People told me that taking the lives of others would be hard, but I never felt that uneasiness, not even once. It made me think that I was some kind of unfeeling monster. And maybe I am. But the time I spent with you filled me with more happiness than I could have ever dreamed of. Instead of taking lives, I could save them alongside you. It felt good to protect you. I felt needed when I knew you were relying on me. It made me feel like I was actually worth something to someone. And whenever I saw the light in your eyes... Do you think this is Tyrion's mom? Whenever I saw the light in your eyes, it filled me with a warm feeling that I've never felt before. It could also be Tamora. It could also be someone we don't know. It could also be Celeste. It could also be Celeste. But it was too good to be true, wasn't it? In the end, I failed you. It could be like so many characters. It really could be. I actually need to turn off the death count, because that is for... I don't even remember what I was keeping track of. I think I was keeping track of the puzzles we'd done in Zero Time Dilemma, because I got frustrated. I couldn't protect you. This is Celeste. Just like I couldn't protect my father. I don't understand. But it might not even be Celeste. I'm saying that as if she's the only person with a dead father. What did you ever see in someone like me? Episode 5, Attorney of the Arcane. It could be anyone. Everyone could have a dead father. Maybe we all have dead fathers. Tyrion? Oh, different background, I think. You still haven't gotten out of bed yet? It's almost noon.
I think I just want to rest today.
You've been saying that for the last 10 days. Someone is actually here to see you. You should really get out of bed.
Is it Tamora?
No.
I'm still not really in the mood. Can you just send them away?
Hey, girl! She said, excuse me, I almost died. You're gonna fucking talk to me.
That's a bit rude, but I suppose we can overlook it this time.
Steelwind?
As the prosecutor enters your room, you immediately leap out of your bed. You try to futilely clean your unkempt hair, but you're just making it worse.
Tyrion, pants!
Right, sorry.
We'll give you some time to ready yourself.
Yeah, literally. Stop being depressed about your mom. Put on pants and talk to me.
I knew he was in a rut, but I certainly didn't expect this. I know. I'm really worried about him. I empathize with his situation, but it's been a month already. Have you tried speaking with him?
A month!
He has opened up to you before. I did, but I think he's really broken up over what happened with Ruby. She's basically the closest thing he had to family. I see. Perhaps he just needs more time.
Oh god. After taking some time to make yourself presentable, you exit your room to greet the prosecutor properly.
Sorry about that.
No, I suppose the fault was mine. I shouldn't have intruded.
Anyways, what brings you here?
Are you doing well, Mr. Cuthbert? You seem...
I'm fine.
Of course. I just couldn't help but notice your absence. You haven't taken any other clients since Beatrice's trial.
I'm going to be honest.
I think I just got a text. Yep.
I'm not even sure if I want to be a defense attorney anymore.
What?
I've spent my whole life training to be one, but I was only doing it because someone else told me to.
Did you not enjoy it? You are very skilled at it.
I don't know. I've been trying to take some time to think about everything.
But you still haven't found any answers.
Have you considered becoming a prosecutor? Your time as my stand-in made it clear that you have the ability to.
A prosecutor?
You would have never considered that a year ago. But you understand that now. But you understand now. There are criminals who need to be brought to justice. And despite how difficult she is to face, Steelman never engages in outright corruption like the other prosecutors of the Crown. If you follow her example, you could fight injustice that way. But even if you did that, you'd just be following someone else's footsteps, just like before.
I'll think about it.
Please do. At this point, I could use all the help I can find.
She's like,
It's all gone to shit, Tyrion. You need to come back to the courtroom.
oh my god.
Have your injuries been healing well?
Yes, Nightgrave's skill in necromancy is quite remarkable. I'm glad I introduced him to House Asclepius.
Asclepius, there we go.
Asclepius?
House Asclepius specializes in the study of necromancy. After Nightgrave's expulsion from the academy, I thought it was only right that he be allowed to continue his studies.
For those who don't know, Asclepius is a Greek god of medicine.
Right, he mentioned he owed you a favor. It was only logical. It would have been a waste to let some of his talents fade into obscurity.
You're glad Wallace was able to continue his studies, not abilities. Hi, Nate. He clearly wants to use his talents to better society. He's definitely in a better place than you are right now, Mr. Didn't get out of bed for 10 days.
Even so, should you still be moving around like this? You should take some time off to recover.
As much as I would like to, there's been a recent uptake in cases of mage blight lately.
Mage blight. You recall hearing about that many times. If a mage exceeds their stamina by overusing their magic, it starts to affect their mind and send them into a violent frenzy.
To make matters worse, the nobility has been trying to suppress information about these incidents.
Right, it's not a good look whenever a mage goes on a murderous rampage.
Not great.
I was actually surprised to see you here, Celeste. Well, I can't just leave him alone anymore. He ticked off a criminal overlord. They're definitely going to send someone after him, and he can't really take care of himself right now.
Celeste, your thoughts are leaking?
Oh, right. For people who don't remember or don't know, the last case, on top of ending with literally everything else that happened, it was Tyrion was about to tell Celeste. I just hit my mic so hard. Tyrion was about to tell Celeste about his eyes, so now she knows about his eyes. So she knows about the eyes. That's something.
Hey, get out of my head! What?
They're not being subtle. Maybe don't tell this to Arya.
It's nothing.
I am surprised, though. Not many people slight the Eye Taker and live. He's known for taking swift retaliation against his enemies. We're hoping he's laying low after his plan with Beatrice fell through.
I think he's dead.
That does match with the reports I read. Supposedly, he's been absent from many of his enterprises.
Either way, you're not looking forward to dealing with him. It's bad enough that you're already on the nobility side. Ah! Dropping cookie all over the place.
By the way, Tyrion, Ruby sent another letter. Do you want to...
Put it with the rest.
Right. Have you spoken to her since the trial? I see. That does explain her recent mood. Right. You probably see each other a lot. I've prosecuted a few of her clients lately. But it's clear she's not nearly as threatening as before.
Could we talk about something else?
Of course, my apologies. Oh, tea's ready. Oh, thank you. Some tea sounds lovely right now. Right, I was totally making it for you guys.
Girl, if you just made a full kettle, you will be fine to make everyone a cup of tea. Just immediately pour it, and if you run out, just make more water. It'll be fine. She walks to the cabinet in your kitchen, and she takes out 2 more cups.
You guys better enjoy this. These are my last bags of... Whoa!
As she walks over to you, she slips on a scroll case you left on the floor at Tyrion. She regains her balance, but the teacups slip out of her hands. The boiling liquid is airborne and is heading right toward your face. Figaqua! Celeste reacts immediately and puts her index finger at the tea. Her magic takes hold and the tea freezes just inches from your face. She breathes a sigh of relief and she brings the tea back into their cups. Arya's gonna be like, what the fuck?
You really need to clean up this place? I'm your bodyguard, not your maid.
Right. Sorry about that.
That was shaped liquid, wasn't it?
Yeah? Oh, it's been added to our notes. Uh-oh.
Oh, I never expected you to.
I know, but it's just too convenient not to have.
She's really opened her mind about learning new spells. You remember when you first met her? Back then, she only knew how to cast Mage Blade. She hated magic back then. You never imagined how diverse her repertoire would become.
Another visitor?
I'm already up. I'll check it.
Well, whoever they are, I'm not giving up any more of my lotus tea.
You open the door and don't see anyone, but there's a letter in your mailbox. You take a closer look at the envelope. It's sealed with candle wax. There's a crest on it. It's the insignia of House Pierce. Great. You quickly open the letter and read it. Despite supposedly being written by a noble, the paper has been torn in half, but the message is clear.
Fuck! I don't remember his voice at all.
Shit.
I hope you understand, but I would have never contacted you unless I had no other choice. I know the truth behind McCoy's true parentage, and I'm aware of how vital this information is to you. As you know, my execution is scheduled for next month, and I'm running out of time. I want to trade this information with you. In exchange, you will grant me my freedom. Meet me in the private prayer room within the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord at 2 p.m. You will save me from my fate, or else... What?
Okay.
If he thinks for a second that we'd even think of helping him.
I know how you feel, but aren't these the answers you've been looking for?
I don't care. We're not going to help him.
That was never an option. There's clearly more to this.
I agree. How was he able to find out in the first place? The truth is, Celeste, I've also been looking into your parentage. What? Why didn't you say anything? I'm sorry, but I didn't want to raise your hopes. I was apparently right to do so. I couldn't find any information regarding your birth.
So, if you couldn't find anything, how was Pierce able to?
House Pierce is low on the political hierarchy. He doesn't have access to the resources I do. He does own the land the McCoy Tavern is on, but frankly, this whole situation is quite suspect.
And why would he ask for my help? I was the one who indicted him in the first place. Even if I did agree to help him, it would be nearly impossible for me to get him an acquittal.
He must be desperate. His execution is scheduled for next month after all. It's possible that he reached out to Tamora as well. Still, I can't believe he'd set up a meeting at the Grand Cathedral today of all days.
Why? What's happening there?
Is it like her wedding? It's not her wedding. She would, that would have...
I'm sorry, but it's not my place to tell you. Arya, can I talk with Tyrion alone for a minute? Of course, I'm sure you both have much to discuss. I actually also have business at the cathedral today. I can't believe he'd use that as an opportunity. I'll be taking my leave.
I'm sorry. I'm sure this is just bringing up bad memories for you.
We should meet him.
What?
We're not going to help him, obviously, but I had an idea. He's probably really scared of his execution, right? And he's desperate enough to ask you for help.
I suppose that's true.
So, think about how stressed he would be if you showed up and refused to help him.
I could use the Eye of Horus on him.
We can get the info we need without having to give him anything.
But are you really okay with this? You'll have to see him again.
Yeah, I'll manage. And it'll be worth it if we can finally get the answers we're looking for.
You've already gotten our hopes up, but there's no guarantee that he actually knows the truth. He could just be bluffing to get you to help him. But if he does know, you can't just ignore this. Hello, Ninji. You need to verify his claims yourself. Beautiful. Give me a second to eat cookie. There's not exactly good times for me to snack. And you know, a visual novel that is not just all video. Thanks for nothing, zero time dilemma. This is exactly what I wanted. Just hours of me sitting as you play video.
So this is the Grand Cathedral of the Scaled Lord.
Have you never been here before? I thought you spent a lot of time in Rathholm.
The Church of Bahamut wasn't that popular in my hometown, and I've never been the religious type. What about you?
It never really caught on with me. And apparently my roots are more celestial than draconic.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. He certainly has the looks for it.
Shut up, girl.
Your thoughts are leaking again.
Can you stop?
I can't exactly turn it off, you know.
Aw, I'm sorry, Ninji. Don't worry. You can hang out until you pass out if you want.
Do those mental exercises I taught you.
Oh. As you approach the Grand Cathedral... Yeah, literally. We don't look that angelic, girly. We look pretty mid, honestly. We just look like some dude. Like, he's just a guy. He's just a blonde dude. He's not that impressive. As you approach the Grand Cathedral, you see a large blockade guarded by legions of Kingsguard.
It's closed off. Is there some kind of event going on?
You recall Steelwind mentioning that she was heading here as well. The nobility must be using the cathedral grounds for something. It might explain why Pierce wanted to meet you here. It's probably secluded from prying eyes today.
Tyrion Cuthbert.
As you approach the blockade, one of the knights notices you. He glances at you and Celeste.
We've been expecting you. I see.
You exchange glances with Celeste, but you both enter the cathedral grounds. The main building is massive, yet mostly empty. There is just a cross in the background, which is kind of funny. It's always very funny to me when, like, sometimes it works when a fantasy religion is just a real-world religion. It's very funny to me that there is just a cross in the background of this church. You see only a few people within, and most of them are quite familiar. You spot Leify and Miriam as you head further into the room. They both avoid eye contact with you, but it doesn't seem to be purely out of resentment. Anime Jesus died for your sins. I guess in this case, Anime Jesus would also be a dragon, which is kind of cool. As soon as they see you, they move their conversation elsewhere. It's clear they still have mixed feelings about how you convicted their sisters. I'm sorry, I was looking at the ceiling, thinking about vaulted ceilings. Don't worry about it. In another corner of the room, you spot Lloyd von Sanctus speaking with another individual. She seems to be someone of equal social standing. Have we seen her before? I don't think we have. She doesn't look like a Pokemon character, but at the same time, I don't know what she looks like. She looks like something. You feel like you've seen her somewhere before, but you can't quite remember where. Wait a minute. Does she look a lot like our friend? I would need to see another image of our friend. As soon as you enter the room, Von Sanctus flashes a quick look of disdain at you. You've seen him slowly move him cause conversation out of the room as well. I do know what Fate is, because I'm pretty sure Fate is what the gacha game that my... Fate gacha... I think my brother plays a Fate gacha game. Maybe. I can't remember, man. And I don't feel like asking him about it right now. And finally, you see Lucio Steelwind speaking with his daughter. Hey, Hannah, it's a guy for you. Along with the two princes. They seem to be speaking with another individual who we haven't met before, who is probably their dad, right? That's probably their dad. When he notices, I love when they just flip, they're like, bloop. When he notices you, his gaze narrows and he stares at the two of you warily. Aster especially seems surprised to see you there. He and Lucio ask the prosecutor something, but you can't quite hear their conversation. Yeah, this is literally just a meeting of everyone we know. When she responds, Aster raises his eyebrows and Lucio's expressions darkens. I read that wrong. What's going on here?
This is a little awkward.
Yeah, but we have some time before our meeting with peers. You want to do some sightseeing inside the cathedral?
Oh, are you asking me out?
We are literally already out. He's so autistic. I don't mean that in a negative way. He's just a very autistic kid. He's got a lot of autism about him, you know? You know when you see a character and you're like, that character, that guy, that girl, that character is autistic? That's how I feel about Tyrion. With lots and lots of love for him. I just see him and I'm like, yes, Mr. Chessman.
Sure, why not? I picked up this map from the entrance. We can use it to navigate the area.
You're Noah, Ninja. Good for your family. Love that for you.
I'm also a little interested in what all these nobles are doing here. I love being nosy.
It is strange. Perhaps someone can tell you more. Perhaps our good friend Aster, because Aster loves us. Aster loves us. Hell yeah.
I think I saw Arya over there. We should go say hi.
As you approach the group, the Grand General and the unnamed nobles stare at the two of you. It would be really funny if they don't know what the king looks like, but I don't think they knew what Aster looks like. They have no clue what these people look like. Hello? The nobleman looks at you, and then at Celeste. He silently scans the two of you. It's as if he's trying to read something. He then walks away without a word. Huge mood. Huge mood. Huge mood.
Rude.
At this point, I'm kind of used to it. Oh god, he had a slight British accent. He's so happy to see us! He's our friend! I love Aster.
Mr. Cuthbert and Miss McCoy, I'm surprised to see you here.
Oh fuck, what was his voice? It's gonna change, we're gonna change, don't worry about it.
What? I thought you were the one who invited them. I'm sad to say I didn't. Although I am happy to see you two nonetheless.
Yeah, if he's evil, I'll be so sad. He's such a puppy dog to me. No, literally. I love that he was like, I'm gonna hide my identity because I want to hang out with the lawyer I like. I like this lawyer so much, I'm gonna tail him and just be excited and not tell him I'm the prince.
What brings you to the Grand Cathedral today? We were actually invited by another noble. We have a meeting with him. What? None of the people here are allowed to invite guests. Why didn't the guards stop you? Oh, they said they were expecting us? What?
It was Lord Pierce who invited them.
Pierce? The little... And to think I granted his request for temporary release. I'm sure he meant no disrespect by it. He probably had his reasons. How can you say that?
This is the day of your... Wait, was my wedding joke legit? I hope it's not. He stops him. Why would they be secretive about it though? If it is their wedding, why is it secret? Why is it a secret? He stops himself mid-sentence and clears his throat.
Make no mistake, if he is a dead man, I will have words with him about this.
Wait, what? That made no sense. What was that supposed to be? Oh, even if he, yes, because he's on trial. Coronation also is a little weird to keep secret. Like, even if they don't, people, maybe like if the king is dead. Whatever. Yeah, Aster is just so excited to see us.
I have to ask, why are all these nobles gathered here? You've taken over the entire Grand Cathedral with 10 of you.
As you ask that question, everyone seems to tense up. Uh-oh. The prosecutor awkwardly looks at the two princes. Prince Alaric avoids eye contact with everyone and just stares at the ground.
I'm sorry, but I'm not at liberty to tell you that. It's a matter of public safety.
I see. It's a little strange, but you can read the room. Prying isn't the best thing to do right now. No! I want to be nosy.
You said that Lord Pierce invited you here. For what reason? I can't really tell you that. You will tell us if it poses a threat to the nobles in attendance. Please, Lord Steelwind, there's no need for that. Mr. Cuthbert would never do anything to put anyone's life in danger.
Aster is such a ride or die. He, like, barely knows us. He's, like, known us for, like, if you're counting, maybe, like, 4 days. Maybe, like, 4 or 5 days max. He's known us for, like, less than a week if you're counting the amount of time we've spent together. He just, like, is so ride or die for these people he barely knows. I love him. He's so funny. He's my best friend. Caught that. That's important. Hold on. I have this. Oh, it's on a different account now. Got it. Royal. I actually used to know this off the top of my head. Let's see, which one is this? I think it's 4 still. Great. So, all of these are different, so I think it's very important. This is, I think, based off the British monarchy. So I'm not actually using it 100%, but you're not supposed to, quote unquote, use, like, you don't use your majesty for a prince. Like, they mean different things. And I believe in some places, like a Royal Highness versus Highness might mean something different. I had it all memorized at one point for one of my books. So, it's a very important catch there that some people may not have noticed. Not you guys. I mean, like, this is something subtle that you would have to, like, you might think, oh, that's a little weird, but, like, this is, like, a rule of etiquette, and if this guy is a noble, and if you're a noble, you're going to know the specific rules of etiquette and form of address for each person, because it will be insulting. Like, if you call someone by a lower form of address than they are, that's, like, a huge insult. So getting it right is important. So Ninji might have actually been on point by saying it might be a coronation. Because Aster might actually be the king at this point. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share because I thought of it and I needed to look it up immediately or it was going to bother me so much. So, thanks for letting me panic search for things. Game capture 6? 5, there we go. Because what did he almost say? He swapped that. He almost said Your Highness, but he switched it to Your Majesty.
As you wish, Your Majesty.
Is this the reason why Pierce asked for a temporary release? I forgot what that was. Interesting. So Pierce was temporarily released to attend whatever this is. If all the nobles are here, they also might need to see it happen as witnesses. Like every noble from every, like a noble from every house might need to show up, or maybe like the head of every house. Because I believe now Leafy is the head of house for now. And then that would be why Von Sanctus is here. That would be why Lucio is here. He could have met with you in his cell, but perhaps he wanted to be away from prying eyes.
Lady Steelwind, Your Majesty, the High Speaker is ready to speak with you.
Oh,
Maybe they are getting married. I'm like, maybe they need to get... I do think that slip-up was important, but I'm like, are they getting married? Is it a coronation? Is it both?
I don't know. Wonderful. Now I've been looking forward to this all day. Shall we go together, Miss Steelwind? Yes, Your Majesty. She would like to accompany you. Wonderful. We shouldn't keep him waiting.
okay.
I lost her voice, sorry.
Scared Lord. How does she plan to marry him if she can't even speak properly in his presence?
Well, it was an arranged marriage, so I don't think she's, like, planning so much as it's happening to her, and she's got a big crush.
Honestly.
I also have something...
What?
I also have something important to do. Good day to you, commoners.
I lost his voice too, but he said, fuck off.
He is going to the washrooms.
I will be taking my leave as well, but make no mistake. My men will be keeping an eye on you two.
Great. Everyone has left the room now. Perhaps you should move somewhere else. Up.
What are you doing here? Did you follow us?
Not intentionally.
Trust me, you're the last person we wanted to see today.
Hush now, Von Sanctus. If they're here by chance, it is because the cosmic balance wills it so.
Well, not this again. Sorry, I don't think we've met.
I'm Coraline Sybil, Lady of the House of Sybil.
Occupation noble, not a job. So this is the head of the fourth pillar family. She's not quite what you were expecting. Between her, Lucio, Lloyd, and William, she definitely seems the most agreeable. For better or for worse, you've gotten to know the other pillar families decently well. It might benefit you to learn more about her. Not a job.
So you're the leader of the house, Sybil?
Is that how you say that? Sybil? Yeah, I think so.
What does your family do exactly? How are you this ignorant?
Each of the four pillars, as you commoners call them, control different branches of the kingdom's government. House Steelwind oversees national defense and law enforcement. House Frega oversees economic development and finances. House Von Sanctus handles commerce, both local and international. And finally, there's House Sybil. We handle the kingdom's legislative and judicial branches.
That would also mean you're responsible for our kingdom's justice system?
She's 38. She is anime 38, though. She is anime 38, that is for sure. And her art is, divination. Damn, she really looks the exact same age as every other 20-year-old girl in this game. This is an anime 38 for sure.
That is correct.
Oh, wonderful. Here we go.
Well, that's why I confused her for our friend who's like 18, that from our hometown. They have like the same face.
Lady Sybil, are you aware of the rampant corruption happening within your justice system?
I suppose it's only inevitable that you'd see it that way.
Am I wrong? I've been involved in plenty of court cases, and it's very obvious. I've been involved in like 4.
I know he's done more. I know Phoenix kind of doesn't. Also, I understand before this case he was doing more than that because Aster knew of him, blah, 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 blah.
All your courts care about is closing cases as quickly as possible. The system is corrupt to its core. These courts don't even try to hide it half the time.
Yet you've prevailed against this so-called corruption in each and every one of your cases.
Only against every conceivable odd, and I can't be everywhere. Do you have any idea how many commoners are falsely convicted each day?
If they are convicted under my system, it's only because the cosmic balance deems it so.
What are you talking about?
The cosmic balance is the natural order of things. Under it, the guilty are punished, while the innocent are protected.
And yet, when a noble commits a crime, they only need to waive their influence to escape any consequences? And all while their victims are forced to suffer in silence. Or worse, an innocent commoner is framed for the crime.
Regardless of your personal feelings, our kingdom needs the nobility to govern the people.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
If they were held to the same standards as commoners, our society would surely collapse.
A little on the nose, but like, I do like being able to boo loudly at characters' like shitty political takes. You know? It's like more fun for me to boo loudly at like anime 38 girl over here than like people in real life. It's like less stakes involved because it's a visual novel. You take back what you just said about her being the most agreeable of the 4 pillars. Oh, fuck. Well, I will eat a piece of cookie then. So you think nobles like Pierce and Von Sanctus should just be allowed to get away with murder? Are you still sore about that? I'm sure you've realized it by now. I've more than what paid for what happened with Jason Wine.
His name was Jason Way.
And if you were truly paying for your crimes, you would be in prison right now.
Von Sanctus made a mistake, but removing him from his position would only create more suffering.
We should kill her.
Our government is barely recovering from the death of William Frege. Wyverngard can't suffer the loss of another house leader this close to that.
The way I see it, I think you nobles overstate your importance in our lives. I love this dude. Tyrion's reached to a point. Honestly, Tyrion was always at this point. Tyrion is just always like, yeah, I'm gonna say this to this person's face, this person who is incredibly powerful and could fuck up my life for real. I'm gonna tell them how much I think they suck. To their face. No matter, I'm not even gonna stop to think about it. I'm just gonna tell her, I think that you're wrong. I think that you're self-important. I don't think we need you. You should go to jail. Like, it's so funny. I love him for it. Exactly, Ninji. We'd probably be fine without you. He's so funny. I love him. Get it, boy. Tear it down from the inside. And I suppose you commoners are capable of coordinating macroeconomic initiatives. Probably. Just gonna put it out there. Probably. Oh, and I suppose you're also capable of engaging in diplomacy with other nations. Probably. Face it, as much as you are loath to admit it, ours is a symbiotic relationship.
More like a parasitic relationship.
So what? The common folk should just continue to suffer for the good of our nation? Lady Sybil, the people of the kingdom you claim to be protecting are suffering because of your inaction. He came here to find out answers about Celeste, and they have just taken a sharp detour to tell the nobles to go fuck themselves. Like, they didn't need to be doing this. This was not their goal, but they saw the chance and they fucking took it. Tyrion was like, you know what? I have time.
My inaction. You place the blame on me, but what have I done?
What haven't you done? But also, what have you done? I'm over here in court. I'm in court, fighting for my fucking life and fighting for the lives of those who are taken advantage of by the justice system. And what are you doing? Looking into your fucking pink glass ball over here? That's nothing. What have you done, girl? I'm doing my best. If this is what LMJ were, we would be having a different conversation. The thing is, LMJ wasn't good, and it isn't even like, it doesn't even really have roots to be good. Just like, there are like the components there where I could build an entirely different story, and it would be really good, but like, nothing about it is really the same. Like, it's a wildly different story than what they've given me, than what they were trying to do. I'm just like, it's basically like they built like a Lego house and gave me the Lego house, and I went, that's nice, and I smashed it, and then I built a completely different Lego house. I built like a boat instead, you know? That's basically what would happen if I tried to rewrite LMJ.
Oh, wait, you said something.
How many lives could... you were once a champion of your so-called justice, but you stopped your work as a defense attorney. How many lives could you have saved in the month you spent on vacation?
Girl, how many lives could you have saved in the years you have been in charge of this house? Do not equivocate us. Fuck you. Do not make my boy's guilt worse. He already feels like shit. He's already in a depressive episode. He does not need you doing this. He doesn't need you doing this. Leave my man out of it.
It's not his responsibility to solve your mess. You have no idea how much he suffered trying to do the right thing.
Celeste?
Perhaps you're right. He shouldn't bear that kind of responsibility alone. But every commoner has the ability to learn and practice the law as you do, Mr. Cuthbert. So why are you one of the few commoners that do so?
Surely it has nothing to do with the education available to him because he was adopted by Tamora. Surely it has nothing to do with that.
From what I've heard, you're one of the few people who defend mages of the common folk. Every other attorney wouldn't even consider taking them as clients. Perhaps the problem lies in the common folk, then.
Fuck you.
They are fully capable of rising to defend the so-called innocent, yet they do nothing.
Never mind. This is clearly a mistake. Let's go, Celeste.
Yeah.
Finally, thank the scared lord. Yeah, I want out. I don't want anything to do with you people.
You okay?
Yeah, I guess I should have expected that. But I never expected someone with so much power to be so out of touch with reality.
Come on, let's go somewhere else. We still have some time before the meeting.
Damn, they showed up early. No, I don't want to talk to you. What? There's a party hat on this Pegasus. They put a hat on this statue. You find yourself in the Grand Cathedral's garden and stumble upon a strange statue.
Wow, that's a little out of place. What even is it?
Oh,
if my memory is correct, it's a Pegasus.
Ah!
Hello, friends!
As you inspect the contemporary piece of artwork, you are startled by a familiar voice. And it looks like she's not alone. Either. Uh-oh. Along with Eris, she seems to be accompanied by both of her sisters.
But Beatrice, aren't you supposed to be
Dead.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to say...
No, it's perfectly understandable. You, of all people, know what was on my blood contract. But it appears the Lady of Discord isn't going to kill me just yet.
Glitchy glitch.
Do you really have to do that?
What?
Never mind.
Narrows my eyes at her.
Right.
It's a little awkward speaking to the Frege sisters after everything that happened, but they don't seem hostile. All things considered, you prefer their company over Sybil's. Although you're still not sure how to feel about speaking with a murderer, especially one you indicted. But Beatrice clearly knows more about demons and their kind than you do. You wonder if she knows anything about the Heavensborn? A great thing to ask with Eris standing right there.
So, you seem to be doing well, all things considered? Breathing? Blinking? Alive?
You mean how a demon now has ownership over my soul?
Yeah? That?
How can you be so calm about this?
I must agree with Miriam. It's a little unnerving how nonchalantly you're treating this.
All their voices are very similar, but they're sisters, so we're going with, it doesn't matter.
I suppose it's the knowledge that everything is out of my hands now. There's something peaceful about it.
That's certainly a positive way to look at it.
You know, my offer still stands. I can try to help you.
At the risk of your own life.
Which part of the contract would you dispute anyways? You recall reading her blood contract in the courtroom that day. There was very little room for interpretation. It was airtight.
The demon I signed that contract with was very meticulous about the details. I spent the last 5 years looking for any possible loopholes, but I didn't find anything substantial I could use. I don't even think disputing it is possible.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. You defended me. I won't suffer your pity.
I feel like we always end up randomly meeting like this, Eris. Surely this is fine.
Wait, what does her glitches look like on the...
What brings you here?
I requested to accompany Beatrice to this event. After all, I don't have many opportunities to enter a church like this.
I can imagine.
By the way, is your father still...
Oh, if you're worried about him, we've already had a conversation about you. I don't think he'll be accosting you anytime soon, because he's dead.
Oh, thank you.
That seems too good to be true. How'd you pull something like that off?
He may look like a hardened criminal, but he's always had a soft spot for family. He also owed me, and I have a way of making people see things my way.
She's right about that.
Sorry, I was looking at her design because for a second I was like, is she holding a coat? I don't think she is.
Wait, if you're here, does that mean Marinath is also...
Oh, heavens no. There's no way they'd let me bring him here, of all places. I left him at the entrance with the King's Guard. If he tries to escape, the knight over there is ordered to kill me.
She points to a knight that is silently watching the sisters from afar.
You're surprisingly calm about this?
Please, I regularly deal with demons. This is nothing compared to that.
You really haven't changed.
I suppose not.
Wait, does that mean you can't see right now? What do you know? How do you know which statue I was looking at?
It was a lucky guess. That grotesque statue certainly makes an impression on you. Oh, Marinoth just spoke with me.
I feel like I'm missing something about this statue. She's like, oh, it's ugly. It's a horse. I bet that if you take the hat off, there's something under there that she doesn't know about.
He wanted me to let you know that he can smell your celestial stink from the entrance.
Love you too, Marinath.
Oh, well. I probably shouldn't repeat his response to that.
By the way, you seem to know a lot more about these things than I do. What exactly is the Heavensborn?
What? Did you seriously not know? But you know how to issue a divine edict. That's a very advanced technique.
It sort of came into me in the moment.
What?
Anyways, I'm quite surprised you don't know about your lineage.
Perhaps my mother knew, but I lost her when I was really young.
I see. You have my condolences. But also to answer your question, Heavensborn is a human whose bloodline has been touched by the gods.
Gods? You mean like the Scale Lord?
No. I'm speaking of the actual gods.
Beatrice, you can't say that here.
Oh, come off it. What's the church going to do? Arrest me?
Try. You already did.
Anyways, your blood has been touched by the celestials of the upper planes. Much like my soul is bound to the abyssal hells, your soul is consecrated and tied to the heavens.
The heavens?
Is that why you're able to use the Eye of Horus? Is it some kind of angelic power?
Make no mistake, though. If you find yourself under the wrong circumstances, even you can be sent to hell.
Great! That's fun for us.
The Church of Bahamut is prominent in Wyvengard, but this is the first I've heard of celestial gods.
Ah, that makes sense. It's probably because of Wyvengard's bloody history with the theocracy of Lumina.
The theocracy?
Literally, local guy realizes that his magic is in fact magic. That's exactly what's happening right now.
Aren't they the nation northeast of us?
Yes, the Luminites worship the celestial gods, while our people worship the ancient dragons. A few decades ago, our nation was locked in a bitter war with the Luminites. Even now, the Crown sees the celestial regions as a possible threat to our draconic culture.
I'm eating a cookie. Hold on a sec. I'm just trying to enjoy a cookie. And see why I was tagged in something. Oh wait, that's why I was tagged in something.
The church has done its best to wipe out any religions that worship the celestials. Always a good thing to occur.
I see.
But if your bloodline is blessed by the Celestials, does that mean our kids will also be Heavensborn?
I suppose so. I think my mother was also a... Wait, what did you just say?
Your kids? I asked if your kids will be Heavensborn.
Oh. I must have misheard you then.
You didn't.
Wow. If only you were always this easy to lie to.
Anyways, I'm a little curious about the theocracy of Lumina. If they worship celestials there, would I find other heavensborn there?
Heavensborn aren't that common there either. Frankly, I'm surprised there's even one Heavensborn living in Wyvengard. How did your bloodline even find its way here?
I suppose I don't really know. My mother never told me much about our ancestry.
That makes sense. If the Church of Bahamut knew what you were, they would have definitely hunted you down. Great! The last thing you need is another faction that wants to kill you! Anyways, travel into and out of Wyvengard is technically illegal.
Also bad. Never a good sign. Not great if you're not allowed to leave your kingdom. Not good.
And I doubt Lord Steelwind will make an exemption for you. He is an old veteran of the Great Luminite War.
Veteran? Vet?
Oh no.
I hate the vet. I'm not going. He'll never take me alive.
Arf, arf, arf.
You watch as Tracker frantically runs through the garden, barking loudly. Leafy chases after him as he runs towards someone. I should probably go help her.
It's almost 2 p.m. anyways. We should head to the prayer room. Thank you for answering my questions, Beatrice. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you with your situation.
Of course.
Let's go, Celeste.
Right.
I knew it. I knew they weren't just gonna pop out. I knew we were gonna get another scene with Eris.
Try not to look so down. It's almost time for the main event.
Why did you bring me here?
Oh, who knows?
Whatever you're planning to make me do, please. Please don't make me harm my sisters.
You're in no position to make demands. You'll just have to see for yourself.
Stay safe, Mr. Cuthbert.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
At least, I hope so.
If it becomes too much for you, don't hesitate to leave. I only need a few moments to look into his mind.
No, I'm the one who asked you to do this. And I'm not going to leave you alone with him.
Alright, if that's what you want.
Girl, this is not the time. Celeste, girly, not the time.
Tyrion?
Yeah?
Thank you for doing this. It really means a lot to me.
Of course, this will finally give you the answer you've been looking for.
It's not just that. You've done so much for me since I met you. You got me acquitted. You helped me work through my grief for my dad. It feels like I can never repay that.
What are you talking about? For the past few months, all I've been doing is relying on you. I genuinely don't know what I'd do if you weren't a part of my life.
I should tell him.
Girl.
Tell me what?
Get out of my head. This is just like every single time we've goofed about when Phoenix or Apollo are like speaking dialogue in their head and they're like monologuing and another character is just like in there just like, hey, Phoenix, pay attention. Except this is happening for real in the game. That's exactly what's just happening.
You're really bad at guarding your mind.
He's in there. He's moved in. He moved. He has a set of keys. He has a drawer. He has a spare toothbrush.
You know you can tell me anything, right?
Arya! How long have you been standing there?
Well, I knew you'd be here around this time. I wanted to wish you luck. But then you two seemed to be in the middle of something. I didn't want to interrupt. Don't stop on my account. I'll just get out of your way.
As she awkwardly skitters away, you see something fall out of her pocket.
Arya, you dropped your runestone.
As she picks up the runestone, she accidentally activates it. An image of evidence appears for a brief moment, but she quickly hides it. But not before Celeste sneaks a peek at it.
Oh,
I see.
Celeste, don't invade her privacy like that.
don't be like that. I'm really happy for you. Thank you. Good luck.
A part of you really wants to know what she saw, but one of you has to exercise some self-restraint.
No, you don't. You don't. No one has to exercise self-restraint here. No one needs to be doing that.
Anyways, let's go meet with him.
Yeah, let's do this. I can tell him after.
He's gonna be dead, right? Pierce is totally dead, right? Is that Pierce is dead? He's not dead. I forgot he looked like this. Who is dead in this case? We don't know who's dead yet. Someone's gonna be dead.
Ah, you finally arrived. I suppose this means you finally Wait, you two?
We got your letter.
Letter? What letter?
I don't know what his voice is.
You sent us a letter, Pierce? It said that you knew who Celeste's parents were? I did send that letter, but not to you two.
This man is also 38. I guess they're 38. They're still anime 38. You know, they're anime 38. He could also be 25, and I would not be surprised. Yeah, letter ripped in half moment.
What?
I don't like this.
And so the final act begins. I've been waiting for this.
What the hell are you doing? Have you gone mad? No, what are you doing? Stop!
Up! Did someone just get blown up?
Lady Steelwind, what are you?
Is she just killing them?
Is this also the will of the cosmic balance?
She just shoved her in the water.
Come on, just tell us the truth, Pierce.
You are the last person I would give this information to.
He's getting more and more stressed. Just a little more and you'll... As you interrogate him, you suddenly hear a large crash from outside the room. Loud, not large. Large crash? Yeah, you heard a lot. I guess you can hear a large crash. They mean loud, though.
What was that?
I'm going to take a look and see what's going on.
What? Are you just going to leave us here? He's right. We don't know what's going on. We should stay together.
Don't worry, there were 2 guards outside, and they're from the King's Guard. You'll be fine.
That's not what I'm worried about, but I don't trust your judgment.
What? It's been almost 10 minutes since Celeste went to investigate the noise. Pierce seems extremely on edge. He's sitting at one of the tables and impatiently tapping its surface with his finger.
So you never intended to send that letter to me. Who did you send it to then?
Thank you, Hannah. I also just took a sip, but I'll take another one. And I'll stretch while I read these next lines.
Who did you send it to then? Oh, as if I would ever tell you that.
He's feeling all the emotions except one. Luckily for you, he should have accumulated enough stress by now.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Even if I wasn't the intended recipient, you said that you knew who Celeste's biological parents are. Who are they? Are you seriously focused on that right now? It's far too important. It's my only bargaining chip. Answer the question, Pierce. What was that?
Samnaya.
What is this?
A blue luminous vapor enters the room. Not good. Never good. As soon as it makes contact with you, you suddenly feel extremely fatigued.
Damn it, it's a sleep spell. I miscalculated.
Oh, man down.
No, if they got here, that means Celeste.
You try your hardest to stay conscious, but the spell is too powerful. You feel your body slowly dropping to the ground.
No. Beatrice,
actions have been added to your notes. I would like to save my progress.
Tyrion? Tyrion?
What? Celeste?
Tyrion, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. I should have never left you alone with him.
Hey, it's okay.
Tears are streaming down her eyes. She was clearly worried about you. You try your best to comfort her as you look around the room.
What happened?
How long were you knocked out? So you look around. Oh! Well, that's not good. As you look around, you see several other people with you. Commander White is leading a group of knights. They all have their weapons drawn and pointed at someone. It's Prosecutor Steelwind!
Commander, I understand your position, but there has to be another explanation. Look, Your Majesty, I get where you're coming from, but from what the witnesses have told us, it has to be a case of mage blight.
You look around the room and see a pool of blood at the end of one of the tables.
Celeste, where's Pierce?
Tyrion?
I don't know how to tell you this, kid, but Eric Pierce is dead. What? We're honestly surprised that you're okay. But who?
You look at the knights who all have their weapons pointed at the prosecutor.
Wait a minute. You think Steelwind did this? It wasn't just Lord Pierce, Mr. Cuthbert. We also found the bodies of Lord Von Sanctus and Lady Sybil. Not to mention, a bunch of the King's Guard have gone comatose. Comatose? I don't want to believe it, but several people saw Steelwind acting off at the scenes of each of the murders. We also found her unconscious here, and Pierce's body was lying next to her. No, it wasn't her. I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She was the one that knocked us out. Beatrice? What the hell is going on?
Commander White, you need to put me in a holding cell. It needs to be one with an anti-magic field.
What?
I'm a danger to everyone here. We need to go now.
What are you talking about?
Now is not the time. Do it, Commander.
Right?
You watch as the Inquisition arrest Steelwind and escort her out of the room.
Damn it, what happened? I know you have many questions, Mr. Cuthbert, but we should make sure that you're okay.
Yeah, there is a necromancer in the nave.
They have a point. You have no idea what happened to you while you were asleep. You follow their suggestion, but not before making a note of the current time. It's 3:12 p.m. Oh, hello.
Nothing seems out of the ordinary except...
What? What's wrong with him?
If you would just let me finish. There appears to be trace of necromancy on you, Mr. Cuthbert. Necromancy? It's probably nothing. Did your assistant cast any spells on you?
Oh, right. I used healing magic on him when I found him unconscious.
I expected that much, but it never hurts to make sure. Anyways, nothing seems out of the ordinary. You're quite healthy. You should be fine to go about your business, but please speak with me again if you experience anything out of the ordinary. Thank you. I'm Lord Lazarak, Asclepius of House Asclepius.
Still not a job. You're a doctor.
There are no thanks needed. My apprentice clearly owes you a lot. Apprentice? Wallace Nightgrave? I believe he was one of your clients a few months ago. Oh, right. Steelwind did mention that she introduced you to. Speaking of Steelwind, I really find it hard to believe that she did this. Mr. Cuthbert, mage blight isn't exactly a benign condition. When it takes hold of a mage, it doesn't matter what kind of person they are. Violent behavior is almost always a result of the delirium it puts them in. It's unfortunate, but mages have to be held responsible when cases like this happen. Unless someone is trying to frame her.
Tyrion, I fought her?
What?
Do you remember back when we heard that weird sound? I went outside to see what was going on. I saw her outside, and the guards there were all unconscious. I tried to ask her what was going on, but she didn't say anything. She just attacked me.
What was her emotional state like?
Oh, well, she was pretty cold and emotionless. It almost looked like she was sleepwalking.
That's actually pretty strange. What do you mean? When someone is affected by mage blight, they enter a state of extreme psychosis. Psychotic episodes like that raise the affected mage's paranoia to ridiculous levels. That's why these cases almost always end up in violence. If she was affected by mage blight, she shouldn't have looked anywhere near as calm as you're describing.
Also, he's 27.
You might be onto something, Mr. Cuthbert. If what you're saying is true, there has to be more to this.
You're planning to defend her, aren't you?
At the very least, we need to find out what actually happened. I feel like there's more to this than we're seeing.
But you saw her, right? She wanted them to arrest her.
Right. It's as if she thought she was a danger to others. Regardless of what really happened, she clearly believes that she was responsible for this.
But there's no way she would do something like this. Something else is happening here, and you will get to the bottom of it. You're not sure where each of the murders occurred, but the Inquisition should be able to tell you more about that. You'll also need to speak with Steelwind. If she really was affected by Mage Blight, you should be able to remember what may have caused it. But anyways, the prayer room is the room you're most familiar with. You'll probably want to start there. Yes, we are. You arrive at the prayer room. It's now swarming with knights from the Inquisition. You find yourself staring at the white outline of staring at the chalk outline of where Pierce's body once was. You can't help but feel a little uneasy. You've been to plenty of crime scenes before, but even if you were unconscious, you were here when the murder happened. It's a little unnerving knowing how close you came to death. Are you okay?
Yeah.
But now is not the time for an existential crisis. Steelwind's future counts on you figuring out what happened. You still don't know what happened after you fell unconscious. The Inquisition believes that Steelwind broke into this room, knocked you and Pierce out, and then killed him. But you remember it clearly. You saw Beatrice before you lost consciousness. There's more at play here than you realize. Celeste also fought Steelwind after Beatrice knocked you out. Perhaps she can tell you more about how she was acting. Alright, I just want to see what we have so far. Letter. She got to the prayer at 2:30, and we got up at like 3:12, I think. While concentrating, okay.
Let's review what happened. Before Beatrice knocked me out, we heard a commotion outside, and you went to investigate. Can you tell me more about your fight with Steelwind? What was she like?
Well, she wasn't her usual self. It's like she was in some kind of daze.
Night, Ninji.
I noticed it even before she attacked me. Something was wrong with her. Oh yeah, she didn't even respond to me when I tried to talk to her. It's like she didn't even recognize me.
But from what Lord Asclepius said, she would have been acting more erratically if she was infected by Mage Blight. It's possible you fought someone disguised as her?
I guess that's possible. But whoever they were, their magic was still extremely powerful.
And several members of the Four Pillar families were assembled here. It could have been one of them. We should speak with Commander White when we get the chance. The Grand Cathedral is closed from the public for whatever was happening here. They probably have a list of everyone who was present when the murders happened.
This means that whoever did this was one of the nobles that was here today. Cookie time. One second.
Beatrice can cast invisibility, so I doubt she'd let you see her. But did you see her at any point when you were fighting Steelwind? Celeste?
Sorry, I don't know. I was too focused on staying alive.
I've actually been meaning to ask you about that. Are you really strong? I've never seen you break a sweat in a fight before.
Well, she was really tough. It was terrifying, honestly. It was mainly her magic. I've never fought someone with spells that powerful before.
She didn't hurt you, did she?
No, but got pretty close. I think she realized that she couldn't beat me. So she just ran past me into the prayer room.
So her real target was Pierce, but why? Did you see the moment she murdered Pierce?
No. When I arrived in the prayer room, I saw you and Steelwind unconscious on the ground, and Pierce was already dead.
And I'm assuming you didn't see Beatrice anywhere?
No, she wasn't there when I arrived.
How did she leave the prayer room without Celeste noticing? Did she turn herself invisible? Bum, bum.
We showed up at the prayer room for the meeting at 1:50 p.m. Then we interrogated Pierce for about half an hour. That's when we heard the commotion outside and you went to investigate it.
Right.
And I think Beatrice knocked me and Pierce out 10 minutes after that. How long did you fight Steelwind before she pushed past you?
We definitely fought for a while. It must have been at least 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ!
After that, she kept on fighting me and ran into the prayer room.
Which means that Beatrice somehow got into the room during their fight. That discounts my theory of her disguising herself as Steelwind.
You regained consciousness at 3:12 p.m. That means you were knocked out for more than 40 minutes. There are still a lot of unknowns about what happened. You'll need all the pieces if you want to put this puzzle together.
Prepario Arcanum!
There's a trace of necromancy on the ground here. It's probably from when I tried to heal you. Oh, there's a trace of transmutation over here. It's all over the area around his body.
Interesting. Did the murderer wound him using a transmutation spell?
There are traces of conjuration magic all over the room.
That must have been left by Beatrice's sleep spell.
Okay.
There's a chalk outline where Pierce's body probably was. It looks like he was sitting against this altar when he died, and the bloodstain seems to imply that the fatal wound came from his chest. An autopsy report would be really helpful here.
You should ask the commander for a copy of it next time you see him. Anyways, it looks like you found everything you can here. You should move and take a closer look at the other crime scenes. Oh, whoa! Well, okay. You retrace your footsteps and find the common room. This was the last place you saw Val Sanctus and Sybil before everything happened. You look around and see most of the room has been entirely scorched. You can still smell the scent of burned cloth and flesh in the air. Ugh.
What happened here?
Was there some kind of fire?
Oh yeah, we think the perp lit a fire using magic.
As you enter the room, Commander White approaches you. He seems to be accompanied by the typical Legion of Knights.
Commander White? Hey kid, you investigating what happened to? Something like that? We just want to figure out what really happened. You and me both. Nothing about this case makes any damn sense. I'll be honest, I could really use your help in trying to figure this out.
Honestly, you're not sure who you can trust at this point, but the commander is leading the investigation, and he's about to have information that will be useful for you.
This whole situation is a damn mess. Has the Inquisition found any clues to explain what happened? We only have the basic stuff so far, and we've only just received the autopsy reports. That's still pretty useful. Do you have any copies of them? Sure, knock yourselves out.
Okay. Garrick Pierce died at 2:45 p.m. in the prayer room. Cause of death was blood loss. A shard of frozen liquid was found stabbed through his heart. It's very likely this was a murder weapon. Okay, the wound also shows heavy traces of transmutation magic, and traces of conjuration magic were found throughout the room. Sybil died at 2:18 p.m. The cause of death was suffocation. Her body was found floating in a nearby lake outside the Grand Cathedral. Traces of transmutation, evocation, and necromancy magic were found on the body. Died at 2:05 p.m. Lord Sanctus. The cause of death was suffocation. Interesting that these two were suffocation, no breathing. The fire in the common room burned the body too much to discern any specific wounds he might have suffered. However, a small trace of evocation magic and a burn mark were found on the victim's left shoulder. This implies the body was hit by a fire-based evocation spell. Traces of abjuration magic were found around the body.
Wait, Pierce was killed with a frozen blade? Isn't that similar to how he killed Flintheart? Sorry, I didn't mean to...
No, it's okay.
It's still strange, though. Why would the murderer kill Pierce using such a convoluted method? If Steel Wind really was affected by Mageblight, she wouldn't have done something like that.
Anyways, the times of death also seem to tell a story. If we look at the reports, the murderer must have killed Von Sanctus, then Sybil, then Pierce in that order. Yeah, that's our working theory too.
Oh! If we look at this map, I love how there's nothing connecting them. They were just like, here are some rooms. I don't know.
If we look at this map, we can see where the prayer room and the common room are. Lady Sybil's body was found in the lake west of here, but since the Grand Cathedral was built off a cliff, there isn't an easy way to get there in such a short amount of time. So that raises my next question. How did Sybil's body end up in the lake?
I just left it as that because I forgot I should not have that.
The Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff over the lake, and the westward balcony just happens to be right over it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. We even have a witness who saw Steelwind there. Really, who was it? It was High Speaker
Theon Arceus.
High Speaker? He is the one-shot caller of the Church of Bahamut. And he stands at the top of the religious hierarchy from what I hear.
I am sucking at his voice. I've never been able to get a handle on what I want to make his voice sound like. And now we're too late in the game for me to figure it out. And I'm tired.
He spotted Steelwind near the west balcony and noticed what she was acting suspiciously. He called out to her, but she ignored him. So she knew that he saw her, but she didn't attack him? Yeah, he really rucked out. But if she was having a psychotic episode, he would have noticed that. From what you said, all she did was ignore him. You're right, the whole Mage Blood story doesn't add up.
Sorry, I thought I heard something.
Either way, we'll just have to talk to him directly to find out more. Putting that aside, there's something else strange.
What's that?
It's about the order the murders occurred in. The murderer killed Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce in that order. That means the murderer went to the common room, then the west balcony, and then finally the prayer room. But if we looked at the map, the murderer's route seems a bit strange.
The murderer could have... Okay, I just was making an assumption. I couldn't remember where things were.
The murderer must have passed right by the prayer room before they dumped Sybil's body. Why wouldn't they just murder Pierce on the way there? Maybe they wanted to dump Sybil's body first.
Or they were afraid of fighting me.
Aren't you giving yourself a little too much credit? No, she has a point. Out of everyone who fought the murderer, Celeste was the only one who didn't die or fall comatose.
Good for her.
Anyways, there has to be a reason why the murderer deliberately chose that route.
I'm gonna be pissed if we don't find out why everyone was hanging out here tonight. I don't want to wait till next week. Okay, you've created a rough outline of the murderer's actions. But the real clues will lie in how each of the individual murders occurred, and that starts with figuring out how Von Sanctus is murdered.
How did the Inquisition find out about the murders anyway? Did a witness come across the bodies? It all started when Prince Alaric came right up to us. He told us he saw a fire breaking out in the common room. He also saw Steelwind there, but when he tried to talk to her, she hit him on some kind of spell.
She attacked one of the princes?
Yeah, but it didn't look like she hurt him. The guy from House Asclepius inspected him, told us he wasn't injured. I'm glad he's okay, but wouldn't Ari have used a more violent spell she was affected by mid-wipe? It's possible she was throwing spells randomly and just happened to get lucky. I suppose that's possible. But was there anyone else nearby when this happened? I would have expected a Prince of Wyvern Guard to be under constant guard. Yeah, that was kind of my mistake. I would have been nice to give him some space considering what just happened. And that would be... Sorry, kid. You don't know, it's not my place to tell you.
I think his dad's dead. I think his dad's dead.
I have orders from the top to stay quiet about that.
Then it looks like you'll need to ask someone higher up. Like our good friend, Aster, who should spill the fucking beans. It's still strange, though. Why were all these nobles gathered here?
Anyways, whatever the perp hit him with, it only put him in a daze. He could barely walk or talk. He didn't even approach us until the spell had worn off. And then the weirdest about it all was, he was pretty close to where we were, but for some reason we didn't find him until after the spell wore off. Must have been traumatic. I hope he's okay.
Why didn't anyone see him in this time? Was he invisible?
After he told us about what was happening, we went to put out the fires. That's when we saw a bunch of guards knocked out outside the prayer room.
Did you see me?
No, this all happened around 1:10 p.m. Right, that was probably well after Steelwind moved into the prayer room. Celeste must have already followed her into it. When you arrested Steelwind, I recall you mentioning that a bunch of guards were comatose. Did the murderer use some kind of spell to knock them out? I don't think so, and I'm just as lost as you are about that. Some of the victims didn't even have any magical traces on them, so we know that they're not under the effects of the spell, but they still haven't woken up. That's odd, to say the least. Is there any common threads between the knights who fell comatose? That might help us deduce what happened to them. Well, we found all of them at the locations Steelwind was spotted. Can't be a coincidence.
But he just admitted they weren't being affected by any kind of spell. What's going on here?
Commander White, you keep saying the perp instead of Steelwind, even though everyone else seems to think she was responsible for this? You also suspect she's being framed? just doesn't add up. If she did give herself mage blight, her actions wouldn't have been so deliberate. And she's definitely not the type of person to just go around murdering people. Even if she was, she's led a lot of the Inquisition's investigations recently. She's investigated plenty of homicides with us. She knows exactly how we do things. Whoever did this got the job done, but they were sloppy about it. A bunch of witnesses saw her, and she didn't even try to hide herself using magic. So either she had mage blight, which doesn't match with her behavior, or she did this intentionally and wanted to get caught. Neither scenario makes any damn sense. Someone has to be framing her. That's the only reasonable explanation. Honestly, I'm not sure about that either. What do you mean? You saw her when we arrested her, didn't you? She wanted us to lock her up. It's like she thought she was a danger to herself and others.
Right. That's the same impression I got as well. I think she was like possessed or something, frankly.
If it weren't for the witness's statements, I'd be sure she gave herself mage blight. The strangest thing is I've never seen her that scared before. Something really rattled her about what happened. Did you follow up Did you follow up on what I said about Beatrice?
Eris is totally doing something. It's just a matter of like what Eris is doing and how we prove it.
I know she was in the room when Pierce and I fell unconscious. She has to be involved in this somehow. Well, she was already in prison, so we're already ahead on that account. But when we asked her what happened, she said she couldn't remember anything. It's such an obvious lie. She has to be hiding something. Normally I'd agree with you, but she's not the only one with missing memories. Steelwind also can't remember anything. What?
It looks like you'll have to speak with her about that.
Anyways, what about Eris and the knight that was guarding her? Did they see anything? Sorry, kid. But Eris Ilmater has been missing since everything went down.
Not suspicious. Not weird.
What? Do you have any idea what happened to her? No, but I wouldn't be too worried. What, a witness to the crime is missing and possibly hurt? Look, kid, you may be a hotshot attorney, but I've been in this business a lot longer than you have. Sometimes when these things happen to civilians, they get spooked and run away. I've seen it a million times.
You feel like he's not making as big a deal of this as she should be. But he might have a point. He doesn't. Eris is the daughter of a crime lord after all. She might have gone into hiding to avoid having to speak with law enforcement.
We don't have the resources to look for her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually.
Yeah, to fuck shit up.
Well, I suppose we can't do anything about that now. But I can still hope she's okay.
Stop that. Tyrion? With love? Stop that.
Anyway, what about the knight guarding Beatrice? Surely he didn't go missing as well? That's the thing. The knight was supposed to be wanting her as one of the people who went comatose. Found him in front of the prayer room too.
Damn it, what happened to him?
To make matters worse, the Freyga trick knows how to cast invisibility. So even if she was telling the truth, very few people would have actually seen her.
Well, it's not a goth room so much as a room that was on fire. So, I guess that's a little goth though, isn't it? That's kind of goth. Yeah. Anyway, but her guard was in front of the prayer room. She must have brought him there somehow.
Well, anyways, would you happen to have a recent version of her spell compendium? Sure, we already had it on the record.
Familiar bond, sleep, mend wounds, send message, animate corpse, necrotic blight, shatter, invisibility, feign death, and illusory disguise. Okay. Mend wounds, send message we've seen, animate corpse we've seen. Indefinitely? Jesus. Okay, so I'm sure that, well, they said that some of them didn't have any spells on them, so this, not all of them could be feign death, right? Otherwise, we'd see necromantic traces on them.
Right, I forgot how many spells she used during Lord Freyga's murder. It's all a little difficult to take in. I still can't believe it. After everything he did, Von Sanctus was just murdered. And I'm surprised to hear that from you. Didn't he basically get away with orphan Justin Wake? The way I see it, he got what he deserved. That still doesn't sit right with me. No matter who the victims might have been. No one deserves to die like that. It definitely a bigger man than I am. Anyways, Von Sanctus's autopsy report says that he died of suffocation. No breathing. We think that the murderer overpowered him and choked him with a rope or something. That hardly sounds like something someone would do during a psychotic episode. Yeah, the more info I get, the more I think you might be onto something. But either way, the fire the perp started in this room burned his body. It didn't completely turn to ash, but it was still pretty charred. So that fire would have burned away any evidence of the minor wounds he had? Yeah, but lucky we even discovered he was hit with an evocation spell. Right, the autopsy report mentioned that too. But if a fire was started, is it possible that he died from smoke inhalation? No, the divination spell we use always identifies smoke inhalation as death by poisoning, not death by suffocation, no breathing. I suppose that kind of makes sense. But it's still a shame we can't find out how the murderer suffocated him.
Caden Aleko. Yeah, I kind of see it. Thought he looked like this, I thought he looked like this, one dude from a Barbie movie, frankly. Yeah, he looks like a dude from a Barbie movie. I think it's Barbie... Fashion... Nope. Barbie... Yeah, so if you look up Barbie Fairy Secret, it's like the second and third image. It's the dude with dark hair. Yeah, I love being able to pull out Barbie references from nowhere. No one cares about. I love Barbie A Fairy Secret. It's fun. It's goofy.
We still know very little about how the murders occurred.
I can't leave. I mean, I could. I don't want to leave until we've talked to him all. But I'm like, can we go talk to Aster so he can tell us what's going on?
Do you have records of each victim's spell compendiums? They might help us understand what each of the victims was doing during the attack. Sure, knock yourself out.
Okay, so Garrick had Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frostwave, and Shape Liquid. Coraline had Slow Fall, Foresight, Strike, True, Detect Magic, and Stone Skin. And Von Sanctus had Mage Blade, Force, Cage, Send Message, and Mend Wounds. I love how for this last case they were like, and you will now have to solve 3 murders. We will give you 3 dead bodies.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of work through. Yep, this is what happens when a bunch of mages are caught in the middle of a murder. Honestly, I've been lucky until now. Nevertheless, I'll need to look over each of these spells when they become relevant. Player, that's for you.
It's just you, Celeste, and that statue. The horrible statue.
Well, I don't feel safe here.
I feel like I'm missing something about the statue.
Why is that statue freaking you out so much? The Pegasus is literally a celestial, like you.
I don't know, but I can feel it suffering through the eye.
It's an inanimate object, Tyrion!
Let's move somewhere else.
Alright, whatever it takes to get you to stop acting so weird.
He's a celestial, so his family is descended from or touched by the gods or something. But the celestial gods, so not the gods of the, shit, that's what we should have done. We should have done detect magic. Not the gods of this country mainly, worships the Scale Lord, so.
Repario Arcanum.
Great.
What goes through the mind of such a tortured creature?
What is with you and the statue?
I don't know, but I can feel its emotions as if they were my own.
It's an inanimate object.
This girl's so fucking tired. Let's do a quick detect magic.
Repario Arcanum.
There's a trace of evocation magic near the body.
I think it could definitely be a real Pegasus that got Gorgoned. For sure.
If that matches his autopsy report, the murderer must have hit him with an evocation spell.
There are traces of evocation in a bunch of different spots around the room.
We think the Pep threw a bunch of fire-based evocation spells around to start the fire, and the King's Guard used a bunch of water-based evocation spells to put out before this fire spread. That makes sense. With that knowledge in mind, there's nothing out of the ordinary here.
There's a trace of abjuration magic in the center of the room.
Do the traces overlap with the body?
Kind of. It's sort of square-shaped?
Square-shaped? I can't see the traces, but there also seems to be a square-shaped outline around the body.
You're right, they overlap perfectly.
The area inside the square is a lot less burnt now that I look at it. I'm not sure what this means yet, but it's definitely worth taking note of.
I can actually...
There are scorch marks all over the room. The fire must have spread pretty far. Yeah, it was probably going for a while. No one even noticed it until Prince Alaric told the king guy he saw smoke. Interesting. We should speak with him and see if he saw anything else. Okay, back.
This can be a cube. This could be it. For the duration, the caster creates a magical 10 by 10 by 10 foot cube or around a target within 30 feet of them. The walls of this cube are impenetrable and can't be destroyed by anything, not even by spells that can normally spell effects. Furthermore, any attempts to magically teleport into or out of the cube will fail. This could be why there was a cube. Okay. You arrive at the west-facing balcony of the cathedral. Supposedly, this is where the murderer threw Sybil's body into the lake. Big-ass lake. Oh, hello there. Oh my god! Do the other characters blink? We're gonna have to watch, because I'm like, did the others blink? I can't take seriously how this is just a real-ass man. And everyone else is in an anime. This is just a real-ass man. This is just someone from our world. As you inspect the area, you catch the attention of an old man nearby who is in the wrong genre. From his garb, he appears to be someone who works at the cathedral. Did the others move their mouths? I'm like, now like... Oh, we need Celeste to come over so I can figure out if she blinks and moves her mouth, because I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't believe we've met before. What are you doing here? Sorry for the intrusion. I'm Tyrion Cuthbert, and this is my bodyguard, Celeste McCoy.
Okay, yes. It's just, she also moves her mouth and blinks. There's something about him where it's much more uncanny, though, because of the style difference, I think. Yeah. They're so jarring.
We're investigating the murders on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind.
Oh.
Tyrion Cuthbert. I've heard of you.
He's 81.
He doesn't look nearly as criminal as I expected him to be.
Judging from his thoughts, he probably hasn't heard many good things about you.
But forgive my rudeness, I'm Theon Arceus, High Speaker of the Church of Bahamut.
Yeah, he looks like someone, like, did this based on a photo. High Speaker. That is a job.
So you're the one who saw Steelwind here during the murders? Do you mind if we ask you some questions?
He scans you warily.
I suppose there would be no harm in that. We heard you saw the prosecutor acting strangely here. Could you tell us more about what you saw? Did it look like she was having a psychotic episode? I wouldn't go that far, but she was certainly acting strangely. How'd you come across her? Well, I was on my way to the prayer room. I always recite prayers from the draconic texts around that time.
Wait, he was heading to the prayer room?
When I saw her, I first thought she must be enjoying the view of the lake. I was about to greet her. When I approached her, I saw that she was throwing something off the edge of the balcony. You must have seen her dumping Sybil's body? You're probably correct. I came to the same conclusion after they found that poor woman's body below us. Although, what is it? I only saw it for a second, so perhaps I'm wrong. But Lady Sybil was wearing much brighter colors this morning. Whatever Lady Steele went through into the lake, it looked much darker. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I can't really explain. Perhaps I was just seeing things. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be after all. Could have been a trick of the light.
God. Hold on, look at our notes. Oh, man. His eyes are just like, everyone else has anime eyes, and he just has normal human eyes. I think it's mostly the eyes. I think it's mostly the eyes that are... It's mostly the eyes. I think we can agree. Yeah, he just looks like he's in a different genre. It's from a different game.
Wait, if you saw Arya dumping in Lady Sybil's body, she must have just murdered her. That means you must have been headed to where we were at the time. Oh, were you praying there with Lord Pierce? Not exactly. What? That's not what the guards told me. The guards? You mean the ones standing watch outside the prayer room? He said, Yes, they told me that Pierce was praying with some acquaintances of him. They said the same thing to Lady Steelwind as well. Wait, Steelwind was there too? Yes, she appeared to be waiting for something. But anyways, I didn't want to disturb them, so I went back to my quarters to pray there.
My speaker didn't see her fighting Celeste.
She must have started her attack after he left. But why would she bother waiting?
Either way, we can't exactly question those guards.
Yeah, they're still comatose after the attack.
Okay. Please don't have anything else to say to...
Actually, the High Speaker's quarters aren't that far away from the prayer room. How did you not hear anything? That must have been because of the magical wards of my room. Magical wards? Are they there for security purposes? Not exactly. I actually suffer from chronic insomnia. Even the smallest sound will wake me up at night. Years ago, I had some mages enchant the walls so that sound couldn't travel through them. I can't hear anything from outside the room once I shut my door.
That does sound awfully convenient, but you doubt he'd lie about saying something so easy to verify. Either way, you should make note of this.
Repario Arcanum.
There are traces of transmutation on the pieces of this debris.
That would imply that a spell specifically targeted or created whatever this came from. But I doubt someone created these bits of gravel. It must have broken off from something else. This balcony provides a perfect perfect view of Lake Galacrond. A lot of people probably come here when the Grand Cathedral's open to the public. There's some sort of debris on the ground.
You pick up one of the pieces and feel it in your hands. It appears to be some kind of gravel.
I can see a military stronghold in the distance. Kind of. Pretend I can see one.
They must be able to see a lot from that high up.
Just pretend. Just pretend.
Okay.
You arrive at the dungeon to speak with Steelwind, but you can't find her anywhere.
The Inquisition and the King's Guard must still be processing her. We should come back later.
Fuck. Okay.
Repario Arcanum.
I'm trying to figure out, like, what to do. So this is like...
It's staring into my soul.
Then stop looking at it.
Oh, there we go. As you move your attention away from the grotesque sculpture, you spot the Crown Prince. He's sitting on the bench, guarded by some knights from the King's Guard. His brow is furrowed, and he seems to be deep in thought. He is not having great luck with fiancés.
Oh, Mr. Cuthbert, and Miss McCoy, too. What are you still doing here? We're trying to investigate what happened. We were looking around when we just happened to find you here. I see. Are you okay? Yes, I was just thinking how unfortunate this ordeal has been. I do hope Miss Steelwind is taking it well.
Right, she is his fiancée after all. He must be extremely worried about her.
We're trying to find out exactly what happened. Do you mind if we ask some questions? I see. Well, I'll do whatever I can to help. You said that you two were investigating the murders. You weren't planning on defending Miss Steelwind, were you? If she would have me, she may be a competent prosecutor, but I have far more experience defending clients. Unfortunately, I think this situation is more complicated than that. What do you mean? Several house leaders died today. We can't release this information to the public, not after the news of William Frega's death has already spread. In the course of 2 months, we've lost not one, but 3 members of the Pillar families. But the trial has to happen soon, or else the magical traces left will disappear. From what I've heard, we will be holding a trial, but it will be handled privately and internally. And I'm sorry to say you won't be permitted to servants at a trial. Right. The majority of the nobility hates me after all. You wouldn't be able to pull some strings, would you, Esther? I'm sorry, I'd like nothing more than to give you the opportunity to represent her. But I clearly have a personal attachment to this case. If I try to tip the trial in her favor, it will only harm her chances more. Right. I see what you mean.
First, like, they don't do it great in this game either, but cannot believe someone is going, you know what, I'm too close to this one. Yeah.
Boy, even if we can't help her during the trial, we can still investigate the crimes on her behalf. Yes, I would really appreciate that. If new evidence is found, perhaps we can exonerate Ms. Steelwind of the charges against her.
Yeah, thanks, Aster.
After everything that's happened, I really need to know, why were so many nobles gathered in one place anyways? All 4 of the Pillar families were present. I understand if you don't want to tell me, but this information could be vital in figuring out what really happened. No, I see your point.
We knew it! We were so correct! Is this 9? Is that what that number is? Let me check. Your dad is dead. I'm so sorry. That is 9. Ninji isn't even here to be partially correct. Because Ninji thought it was a coronation.
The truth is, we were all gathered to mourn the death of my father, King Olivier de Wyvengard the 9th. Wait, the king is dead?
Okay, so 3 Pillar family leaders are dead, and the king. You guys have to start telling people this shit, because if everyone finds out that 2 Pillar family leaders and the king are dead at once, that's not great. I don't think just putting it off is a great idea either. Anyway.
Yes, we wanted to avoid releasing this information to the public, so close to the death of William Frega. We were trying to pull a British monarchy thing about it.
Literally, Hannah, they're trying to be so kind about it. They're like, oh no, I'm so sorry. What a disaster. Anyway.
My father has been ill for quite some time, so we were prepared for this. Or at least I thought I was. I also lost my mother when I was quite young, but it's still a little hard to take in. I'm sorry You have my condolences.
They're giving the horse, like one of the, what are they called? The little roll-up things that you blow and they make an annoying noise. They're putting one of those in the horse's mouth.
Thank you.
But if King Olivier is dead, that would make you...
Yes. You currently stand before King Asta de Wyvengard, ruler of our kingdom.
Considering everything that's happened, he seems less than thrilled about that.
I suppose that explains why all these nobles were gathered, and also why Lucio called you Your Majesty and not Your Royal Highness. They came under the guise of paying their respects, but it's clear they all wanted to get closer to the new King of Wyvengard. I think the Fragers were the only ones who genuinely came to give their condolences.
Aw, poor buddy.
Speaking of the Fragers, I think you need to know. I saw Beatrice before I was knocked out. I think she may have been the one who killed Garrett Pierce. Why would she be there? I'm sorry, I know she's your friend. But we already know she's not above committing murder. I see. I suppose if you're saying it must be so. But what possible reason could she have to be involved in something like this? I'm not sure yet, but I plan to find that out.
Sad yippee. Oh, that's really true. Oh, no one's even there to see him or grieve his family. Like, they're there to see him, but like, no one is there, like, matching the energy with him. He's just there being sad by himself with his brother.
By the way, where were you during the murders? I remember you left with Steelwind when Celeste and I arrived at the cathedral. Ah, yes. Steelwind and I left to speak with the High Speaker, Arceus, in his quarters. What was your meeting about? It was actually about our wedding. With my father's death, Lord Steelwind finally wanted to make our union official. Oh, I would congratulate you two, but considering the circumstances...
She's had a shit few months. This man has had a shit few months. Like, a bunch of shit months. Someone stole his ship when he was supposed to be on it. His father has been sick. His ex-fiancée came back from who knows where and got arrested for murder. His current fiancée is now suspected of killing 2 people. His father is dead. His mother has been dead a very long time. No one wants to be his friend besides the 2 lawyers who he keeps running into and he's a big fan of. Literally said, and now a rat has him in their tiny scope. Aster, we all just want the best for you.
I understand. And I appreciate your words nonetheless. Anyways, how long did this meeting last? I believe we spoke with him until 1:40 p.m., but Von Sanctus died at 2:05 p.m. That means she began her rampage less than half an hour after that meeting. Was there anything off about her behavior? Now that you mention it, something about her demeanor changed. We were speaking of the wedding when she abruptly left. I asked her where she was going, but she ignored me. That sounds similar to what happened when Celeste found her. There's no way she was affected by Mage Blight.
Marriage meeting!
I honestly didn't think that much of it at the time. I'm quite used to her giving me the cold shoulder.
Right.
It's possible that the Steelwind the witness saw wasn't actually real. Does that mean the Steelwind that attended the meeting was also a fake?
Anyways, what happened after a meeting with the High Speaker? Do you see Steelwind after that? Actually, I found myself caught up in something else entirely. At 2 p.m., I went to pay my respects to my father's coffin. But apparently someone else had set a magical trap there.
What?
It was a glyph of contingency.
I have heard of that spell. It's like a trap you can set, and you can infuse any spell into it.
But it requires a second contingent spell to place that trap. Which spell was it? It was a force cage, targeting me.
Was the murderer trying to attack Aster too?
I don't think so. They could have used a more lethal spell if they wanted to, but from the sounds of it, Fort's cage can't be dispelled. So Aster would have been trapped inside of it for that full hour. We think the murderer used this as a distraction, sorry. Because of that trap, the King's Guard consolidated most of their attention and focus on my location. Because I'm the king and they were guarding me. As a result, there were fewer people guarding Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce. And the ones that were there all fell comatose, and I feel zero guilt of this at all. Obviously. They can't tell us what happened to them.
And yet, another inexplicable event is added to the list. After everything you've learned, you highly doubt that Steelwind was affected by Mage Blight. So someone must have been behind what happened, but who? Anyways, it seems he's told you everything he knows. He probably didn't witness much after he was Katnissed? What is happening? After he was captured by the Forest Cage. You should move somewhere else. There we go. I was like, where am I going? Let's see.
She attacked a member of the royal family and killed several nobles. What else is there to investigate? The laws are clear about what we must do. We should execute her immediately.
So who is the fuck this guy? It's not their dad.
Alaric, this situation is far too much import to make such rash decisions. We need to approach this calmly and carefully.
As you return to the nave, you spot the young prince in an argument with that nobleman you saw earlier. Yeah, evil uncle is my best guess too, literally. Now that you think of it, you still have no idea who he is.
Oh, it's you two?
Your Highness, and I don't think we've been introduced.
What? I see you're still as insolent as ever. You stand before Sir Remus Virgili, Archduke and Royal Vizier,
Never a good thing.
to the Wyvern throne.
Never a good thing to be a vizier. Oh, visor. It's like, I just assume it was vizier, but visor is close enough. I kind of forgot that he's 7 and mixes words up. There's been, I think I caught a typo or two, so I just yeah, that's fine.
I believe he means advisor.
That is technically a job. I'll give him this. He has a job. Archduke. He didn't even know the Kingdom of Ivengard had a title like that. Why haven't you ever heard of him before? I don't know, man.
Why are you two still here anyways? I thought the cathedral was closed for the investigation. We're investigating what happened on behalf of Prosecutor Steelwind? I see. Anyways, I have much to attend to. I'll be taking my leave.
He's nervous. You sense a tinge of anxiety. Is he avoiding you?
Actually, since we have you here, we have some questions for you. The both of you.
Huh. You should know your place, knave.
Alright, child.
Your Grace, where were you when the murders took place?
Just what are you trying to insinuate?
Please, Alaric, there's no need for that.
Why don't we know your age?
To answer your question, I was speaking with Lady Frego's familiar. Dracker? No, it was the demon who calls himself Marinath. What? Why would you want to speak with him? He was actually the one who sent for me. According to him, he had some information that was of great import to me. You didn't make a contract with him, did you? Of course not. What kind of desperate fool do you take me for? No, he gave me the information he had freely. But why would he do that? Demons are supposedly always trying to trick humans into making deals with them. Looking back, it must have been a distraction. What a fool I was. I knew he was playing with me. But I knew he could tell lies. Couldn't tell lies. And the information he had was too important to ignore. If you don't mind me asking, what was the information about? I'm sorry, but I can't reveal what he told me. You could endanger the people I care about. But rest assured, I doubt it had anything to do with the massacre. Your Grace, we've only just met. I can't exactly just take your word for it. I suppose that's fair. But believe me when I say that I plan to take this information to my grave.
That's ominous, but he's clearly intent on keeping their conversation a secret. It could have something to do with Celeste. People really don't want to talk about Celeste's parents.
Anyway, several members of the King's Guard were watching us. They can verify my alibi. How long did this conversation last? I arrived to speak with them at 1:50 p.m., and I did not leave until 3:10 p.m.
Long-ass conversation. That's a long conversation. So he's accounted for during the time frame of the murders. But why would Marinoff go to the trouble of distracting him in the first place? Whoever orchestrated this also used Force Cage to stop Aster. Were they trying to distract the forces in the cathedral, or were they just trying to keep certain people out of the crossfire? Either way, it's clear that Beatrice has a lot to answer for.
Your Highness, we heard the prosecutor cast a spell on you when you saw the fire in the common room. Can you tell us more about what happened?
I can't believe she attacked a member of the royal family. She was completely irresponsible with her magic.
I understand your feelings about this, but we can't say for certain she was infected, that she inflicted mage blight on herself. We don't even know if it was actually her.
I saw her with my own eyes. Plenty of other people did too.
Either way, where did this happen?
It was on the path outside the common room. I saw the smoke coming from the building, and I saw Steelwind walking away from it.
So this must have been after she murdered Von Sanctus.
I have a feeling I already know the answer, but was she behaving erratically?
No, she very deliberately cast a spell on me.
Which, I'm trying not to go Luke, but I'm having a hard time doing British child without it being Luke. Which once again implies that Mage Blight wasn't behind this.
Do you know which spell she cast on you?
I'm not sure. I've never been affected by a spell like that before.
Oh no! Rip. Oh, that stinks.
From the magical traces on him, we know that there was a transmutation spell.
Transmutation spells manipulate and change physical matter. It's scary to think about that, what that might do to a human body. Are you sure he's okay?
Lord Asclepius inspected him, and he doesn't appear to have any lasting injuries. We were hoping the spell's effects were only temporary. Can you describe what you felt when you were affected by it? That might help us to identify which spelt it was.
Spelt it was. Not correct.
Well, I was extremely dazed, and my ears were ringing. My vision was also partially blurred. It was as if my mind was in some sort of fog. Whenever I tried to speak, I couldn't even form words with my mouth. I could only make grunting sounds. I couldn't walk either, so I had to crawl on the floor.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. That must have been traumatic.
But what kind of transmutation spell would do that to him? It had to be something that affected his senses. That is a really good, I like that, that's fun. Do I have anything transmutation right now? No, I didn't mean to present that to him. I probably don't have it yet. I was just poking around. Oh, I didn't mean to present you anything, bestie. Ooh, yes!
You already told us that she wasn't acting erratically, but was there anything off about her demeanor?
I only saw her for a moment, and she was definitely different than usual. She was completely emotionless.
Yeah, that's exactly what she was like when I fought her too.
Wow, you two look a lot alike.
It's like she was an arcane construct. Her movements were almost robotic.
Wait, are there any arcane constructs on the cathedral grounds? No, not for lack of trying on Lord Von Sanctus's part. The High Speaker and I have specifically forbidden the staff here from using it.
It would be really convenient if this was all done using a construct again. Although you are a little tired of seeing them in your cases.
Anyways, was anyone else around when Steelwind cast that transmutation spell on you?
No, she moved away quickly after she incapacitated me. And even if someone was around, I don't think I could have seen them anyway.
Commander White said that he was surprised that no one saw the prince until after the spell wore off. What happened to him? That covers a large account of what happened, and we even got Archduke's statement too. But there's still one last person we need to speak to.
Arya.
She and Beatrice supposedly have no memories of what happened. If it were only Beatrice saying that, I'd probably doubt it, but if Steelwind also doesn't have memories, it becomes a lot more credible. She definitely has the missing piece. We need to put this together. Are you going to the dungeon to speak with her? I am. Wonderful. I'll be accompanying you. Why? As the royal advisor, I have a vested interest in the investigation. While I trust Lucio to leave no stone unturned, I hear you have quite the talent for seeing what the crown cannot. Well, it's not as if you have the authority to stop him. You still don't know him very well. You'll need to be wary of what you say in front of him. Yeah, don't mention your magic eyes. That's for sure. Maybe don't talk about Celeste's thoughts leaking. You arrive at the dungeon and see the prosecutor sitting in a holding cell. She seems extremely stressed, as if she's trying to figure something out. Well, she thinks she just murdered 3 people. So...
Mr. Cuthbert, and your grace.
Steelwind gives a wary look to the Archduke. How are you doing?
As best as I can, all things considered. What brings you here?
We're trying to investigate everything that happened.
I see.
I was wondering if you could answer some of our questions. Steelwind, I know your situation is pretty grim right now, but you know you can trust me.
You're not the person I'm worried about. At this moment, I don't even know if I can trust myself.
What? We heard that you don't have any memories of what happened. Is that true?
It is. No matter how much I try, I can't recall anything.
What's the last thing you remember?
I believe I was leaving my meeting with the High Speaker and His Majesty. After the meeting, I was planning to return to the nave to speak with my father, but I suddenly felt extremely nauseous. I thought some fresh air might help me feel better, so I went to the balcony.
The one over Lake Galacrond?
Yes, that one. The last thing I remember was losing consciousness as I looked out at the lake.
Did you cast any magic before this happened?
No, I didn't.
Are you sure you don't remember anything after that?
I don't. All I remember is waking up to the sound of someone sobbing. It was Celeste. She was crying over your unconscious body, Mr. Cuthbert.
Oh wait, this is the one I was looking for. Okay. I feel like we've completely ruled out Mage Blight, so I doubt that's why you can't remember anything. Are there any spells that can specifically modify or destroy people's memories? It would certainly explain a lot of this.
No, arcane spells can only affect the physical world, but throughout history, mages have attempted to develop spells that can affect the mind.
Tyrion is like, uh-oh. Oh.
There's no recorded history of any of them succeeding.
But you're assuming that arcane spells are the only kind of magic that exists.
What?
I think you observed it earlier. There are magical creatures in this world that don't use arcane magic. Isn't that right, Mr. Cuthbert? Why? Does he know about the Eye of Horus? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. Don't take me for a fool. Several of my associates attended Freya's trial, and they all heard what that demon referred to as.
Heavensborn.
If I learn that Lumina has anything to do with this... Your Grace, I'm not an agent of the Theocracy. I learned about the Theocracy about 4 hours ago. And even if what you're saying was true, I wasn't the one who manipulated Steelwind's memories. But I suppose you raise a good point. If something affected Steelwind's memories, it wasn't necessarily an arcane spell. In fact, it couldn't have been an arcane spell. It was definitely something else. Maybe this girl Eris? I don't know.
You're probably right, which proves I'm responsible for the murders.
What? You just said you don't have any memories of what happened. Why are you so convinced you're responsible for this? I told the Inquisition already I saw Beatrice before I passed out. She is clearly involved in this somehow.
There's more to this than you realize, Mr. Cuthbert. For the past few months, the Inquisition and I have been investigating a string of seemingly unrelated murders. During each of those cases, we were able to apprehend the perpetrator without issue, but there was always some things off about them during the questioning. The murders were always abnormally gruesome and passionate, and each of the perpetrators said the same thing. They all said they had no choice.
No choice?
Cases like this have been occurring throughout Wyverngard, and very little connects the perpetrators to each other. All except one thing. Each of them acted as though someone had controlled them against their will.
They were probably just desperate. Most murderers try to make excuses after they're caught. They could have even been they could even just be in complete denial.
Borum said the same thing, but these cases were far too similar for me to ignore. I wondered if they were telling the truth. Perhaps each of these murders was committed by an unknown party. I didn't have any concrete evidence, but I knew I was getting closer to something.
The purple conspiracy?
Steelwind, I don't mean to sound rude, but this sounds
Completely insane.
You don't even have any physical evidence to prove these murders are connected.
There's one piece of evidence, but it's hardly concrete. But it does tie each of these cases together.
She takes a small parchment from her pocket and shows it to you.
It's a purple symbol?
Several of the people arrested had an item with this symbol on it. None of them could remember where it came from, or even what it was. But they all somehow knew it was called the Purple Mark.
Maybe because it's purple.
What? There has to be an explanation for this. It could just be some esoteric superstition that we don't know about.
If that's true, then ask yourself one thing. Where did I get this parchment from?
You don't mean...
I found it in my pocket after I was properly confined. Whoever I've been chasing must have left it there to taunt me. For all I know, they could have controlled my body and forced me to draw this symbol myself. Either way, this all but proves the massacre in the cathedral is related to it.
Well, I don't want to dismiss what you said, but this definitely won't hold up in court.
Nor should it. If my mind has been compromised, I can't take the risk of leaving this dungeon. Otherwise, I could end up harming more people.
Wait, are you planning to spend the rest of your life in prison?
If that is what is necessary to keep everyone safe.
But what about Aster? Weren't you two supposed to be married soon? He's the king now, and you can't rule Wyverngard alongside him from a holding cell.
Tyrion, with love, they're not getting married. Like, baby, if she's convicted of this, they're not getting married. She's not ruling anything.
You're correct, but he's always been a remarkable person. She should have no problem finding another suitress.
You feel an overwhelming sadness emanating from her as she says that.
Arya.
No.
What?
You're not going to sacrifice everything for someone else's actions.
Mr. Cuthbert, I am not going to risk more lives. If I were to hurt His Majesty, I would never be able to forgive myself. Please don't ask that of me.
Ooh. Steelwind is going to throw away everything she cares about for the greater good. Even if she was the one who did all this, she's not the one who's responsible. You can't let her resign herself to a fate like this. Do I have like a little... I don't. We could try it. Perspectives. Argument. Her psychological profile says, Steelwind acts for the greater good of the kingdom, regardless of the amount of suffering she must endure in doing so. She's deeply in love with Aster and will do anything to protect him. However, she's still a rational person and will be receptive to logical arguments.
Steelwind, are you seriously going to throw your life away?
If it were necessary, I would give my life for this kingdom. If someone controlled my actions today, they can and will do so again. A villain controlled my mind, and
And as long as that possibility exists, I can't trust myself.
That's not the issue here. If someone else is responsible for what happened, we need to find out who they are. They could still be out there.
If that's true, you're fully capable of finding them yourself.
Fuck, that wasn't it.
As I've said, I have no memory of what happened. I'm sure one day you'll be able to find out what happened.
But you'll have already lost everything by then. Shit!
But that's assuming that this person That's assuming this person can continue to do so. You said so yourself. You haven't found any evidence to prove your theory. We don't know how this mind control works, and we don't have enough information. We can't just drop this without finding out what really happened.
I suppose you're right, but I doubt there's any goal to this. The person responsible was just a sadistic killer. I've been investigating these murders for months, and I've never been able to find any personal clues as to who the perpetrator is. There's no way to connect them to this. Whoever did this was a sadistic individual who wanted to cause as much suffering as possible.
Yeah, right? Take notes. Oh, 1 second. I have a bunch of messages. Oh, okay. It's shipping stuff. I have to pay for some shipping after this. It's fine. Anyway, I think this one is it because, why wouldn't you kill the king, right?
That's not true, Steelwind. Whoever did this had very specific targets in mind. Both Prince Alaric and the High Speaker you saw you when the murders were being committed. Not to mention they set a trap for Aster.
What?
Let's assume that someone was controlling you.
My hair is stuck in my headphones.
They wouldn't have left Alaric, Arceus, or Aster alive if they were trying to kill as many people as possible.
I suppose you have a point there. But even so, that hardly narrows things down. If someone was controlling me, they wouldn't need to enter the cathedral to use me. The perpetrator didn't need to enter the cathedral to commit the murders. Perhaps you're right, and the perpetrator only wanted to murder the 3 victims. There's plenty of people who might want to see those 3 dead.
Like us. Well, that one was... What am I doing? Okay. A spell that was definitely used that has a how close you needed to be to them. Yeah, because you had to be within 30 feet of them, and it was cast on Aster, right? Yeah.
There's one thing you're overlooking. Before the murders started, someone trapped Aster in a force cage using a glyph of contingency.
But they didn't harm him. It was probably just a distraction.
Even so, this gives us 2 very important clues. The first is that whoever did this is capable of casting those 2 spells. This means that the perpetrator was a mage.
That's true.
But the second clue is the most important one. Whoever set that trap for Aster, they did so within 24 hours of triggering it. This means that the perpetrator must have been,
thank you, Nate,
someone who attended the funeral.
So it was one of them.
That narrows down our list of suspects substantially. There's a chance we can identify who did this, and if they really did control your actions, we can find a way to prevent them from doing so again. Steelwind, you need to fight this.
I can't.
What? Why not? Fighting?
Fighting this will put people in danger. If we pursue an individual like this, they might retaliate with even more than they already have. They wanted to remove me from my position. How will they react if I try to resist? They might hurt even more people to send a message. It's far too dangerous.
Whoever did this had a goal far bigger than you, and you have no guarantee that they'll stop there. 3 nobles died today, and 2 of them were near the top of the political hierarchy. What if they decide to go after more victims? Who will they target next? Your father? The king? We need to catch up with them before they can do harm. I know you're frightened about what might happen to the people close to you, but we can't let someone that dangerous get away with this.
When you put it that way, I suppose I have no other choice, do I?
Argument won, but ugh.
I never realized it before, Mr. Cuthbert.
What?
You really have a bad habit of butting your nose into other people's business, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose I do.
But you're right. We can't let this go. I'll find a way to dispute this, somehow. Thank you, Mr. Cuthbert.
I think we've known each other long enough. You don't need to be so formal.
You have successfully argued against Arya Steelwind.
Perhaps I misjudged you.
I know I agreed to fight this, but...
What is it? You're the most qualified attorney in the nobility. You'll definitely be able to make a case for yourself.
As you probably know, House Sybil controls the legislative and judicial branches of our government, and they've nominated my father as the prosecutor for my trial.
Ugh. So we have a prosecutor on trial, and we are defending her against her father. Okay.
What?
No one believes my theory of mind control. Everyone believes that I overspent my magic and gave myself mage blight. As a result, they blame House Steelwind for Coraline Sybil's death. Now, the only way for him to redeem House Steelwind is to convict me and sentence me to death. But he's your father. There's no way he would... This isn't the first time something like this has happened. When I was a child, my mother accidentally overused her magic and induced mage blight within herself. In her resulting psychotic episode, she massacred an entire village of commoners.
No.
House Steelwind almost lost everything after that. To redeem himself, my father personally oversaw my mother's trial and her execution.
This jaunty-ass, cheerful music over this conversation. This conversation. Alright.
That's... My father values his duty to Wyvern Guard over everything else. Nothing matters to him more than that, not even his family. I want to have confidence in myself, but I don't know if I can face him like this.
Mr. Cuthbert, what is your stake in all of this? What? You hate the nobility, don't you? So why are you so intent on helping Miss Steelwind? Because she's innocent? I know she is. She would never be irresponsible enough to give herself mage blight.
Mr. Cuthbert.
It doesn't matter if she's a noble or a commoner. She's being oppressed by the system, and she deserves a fair trial. Well said. What?
Oh, okay.
I, Remus Virgile, hereby grant you the privilege to serve as Miss Steelwind's consul. Wait, really? I will be acting as judge and arbiter of Miss Steelwind's trial. It is within my right to grant such permissions. Thank you? But why would you... Do you think I've made a mistake? No, of course not. I'll serve as Steelwind's attorney, if she'll have me.
Of course. There's no one I would trust more with this. And please, you've done a lot for me already. You don't have to be so formal. Please call me by my first name. Celeste has already taken to doing that.
I can't make jokes anymore. I wish we got to see like a little more of Arya and Celeste. I feel like they have a fun dynamic. Celeste is like so upset right now. Girly, it's okay.
But since you'll be defending me, you'll probably need this. Her compendium.
We've got Mend Wounds, Firebolt, Shape Liquid, Dispel Magic, Steelwind Strike, Detect Magic, Polymorph, and Hold Creature. Hey!
Then it's settled. We will hold the trial at my home, the city of Ladin. Ladin? I've never heard of that place. Speak with Lucio. He knows the location well.
And he vanishes. Before you can ask any more questions, the Archduke leaves without a word.
He really has a bad habit of just walking away from conversations, but I guess we should consider ourselves lucky, even if it's unorthodox. This situation will let us approach this like any other trial.
Yeah. I'm like, they could be sisters, so might as well be safe. You had no idea what you were in for when you agreed to this, and what proceeded next would be unlike any trial you've ever been in. But even so, you persevered as you always done in the name of justice, regardless of what you had to sacrifice to do so. What did we do? What did we sacrifice? What? It's all gone to shit. Great googly moogly. It's all gone to shit. It's all gone to fuck all. I'm probably gonna pay for like just 10 more minutes. Just 10 more minutes.
Tyrion? We're definitely lost.
You followed Lord Steelwind's directions to the letter, but it appears you found yourself in the ancient ruins of an old city rather than the estate of an archduke.
I don't understand. This should be the place. The map even has the giant tree north of here.
This can't be the city of Leyden, then Vergilai.
What does the AE sound like? Virgili? It sounds like the A in cat. Virgila. That sounds weird. Huh? Virgila? We're going with Virgila, I guess.
This can't be the city of Leyden that Virgila mentioned. It doesn't look like anyone's lived here in centuries.
But Lord Steelwind's directions were pretty straightforward, so why are we... Wait a minute.
Did he give us the wrong location on purpose?
That would be really funny, though, wouldn't it? That'd be really funny.
Please, what kind of dishonorable cretin do you take me for? Lord Steelwind? What are you two standing around here for? This trial will be starting shortly.
Well, we don't know where the fuck we're going. He's not alone either. He's flanked by a division of Kingsguard and Arya. It's difficult to tell if they're escorting her or keeping watch over her. Probably both. You can see one of the knights channeling a spell over Arya. It must be an anti-magic field. Even now, she must still be wary of someone taking control of her mind.
Wait, this is where we'll be hosting the trial? Yes, the Archduke has always been sentimental about this place, and I doubt a normal courtroom will have enough space. What? I really don't know what possessed him to trust you. It's a miracle he's even taking part in this at all. But nevertheless, let's not keep him waiting.
Before you can ask him to elaborate, he walks past you and heads toward one of the central buildings. It's completely dilapidated. You're a little worried it might collapse on you while you're in it. You look at the prosecutor and raise an eyebrow at her, but she merely shakes her head. It's clear she's just as lost as you are.
Alright, well, I guess we're doing this.
Help! Sorry, they look goofy. They look a little silly. I love the people that they just put up above them. Oh, budget. I understand. I get it. The ruins are filled with everyone who's at the Grand Cathedral that day, and they all seem just as out of the loop as you are. The only person who seems unfazed by this entire situation is Lord Steelwind. He's taken his position at the opposite end of the room. It seems that he truly plans on prosecuting his daughter. God! It looks so short. I'm sure it's not, but just like the perspective of where the floor is, it literally looks like he's sitting like on a cushion. Like this man's just sitting on a cushion. He's just on the floor. He's sitting down.
Thank you all for coming here today. I appreciate your cooperation with our investigation.
Why have you brought us here? This place is filthy. It's crawling with insects and vermin.
My apologies, but what happens here today must be kept under wraps for now. I had to choose a location that was away from modern civilization, but nevertheless I welcome you all to my home. Wait, you live here? I do.
Why?
Your Grace, I know you wouldn't bring us here unless you were completely certain, but I want to ask you one last time. Is this truly what you wish to do?
What is he doing? What kind of ritual nonsense are we doing? What kind of magic ritual nonsense are we doing?
There will be no going back after this. What? I've made many mistakes in my lifetime. I gave Wyvern Guard the means to protect themselves, but all it did was warp them into something monstrous.
Is he a dragon? Is he like an old immortal or something? Maybe he's a dragon. I can't remember enough of the world building to remember what's going on with him. Okay. Okay.
I grew bitter seeing what I had created, so I isolated myself from my people. I thought my best course of action would be to stay in seclusion and leave Wyvern to fend for themselves. I see now what a fool I was. I abandoned my kin to survive in an unjust world, and now foreign powers have ingrained themselves in my kingdom, all because of my negligence.
Foreign powers? Does he still suspect that you're an agent of the theocracy?
Well, no more. It's time the people of Wyvern and their enemies remember who watches over them.
As he raises his hand, magic begins to swirl around him.
What's going on?
The entire room is violently shaking. Whatever he's casting, it's unlike any magic you've ever seen before. A blinding light envelops him, but you can faintly see his form changing. It's expanding. And from it... Wait, is that... That's a fucking dragon.
Wait.
It's a dragon.
Well, at least his scale. That's why they didn't fucking bother fixing his scale. They were like, fuck it. This guy's gonna be a dragon in about 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. They were right. It didn't matter. As the Archduke assumes his true form, the gallery breaks out in hysteria. Some of them kneel in reverence to the ancient dragon, and some of them cower in absolute terror. You even see some of them attempt to flee before they're stopped by the Knights of Kingsguard.
Enough. This may not be a court, but I will have order.
Well, that's why I have question marks for his age.
You're an ancient dragon? No, you're the last ancient dragon. That's correct, Heavensborn. I am the Lord of all lords.
Rathalion, the Scaled Lord.
You all stand before Rathalion, the Scaled Lord.
You can't even see it. Rathalion, Scaled Lord. So one of the only fuckers in this game with a job is a dragon.
Remus Virgile is a cat, an alias.
I said cat because I was thinking of trying to how to say it because I fucked it up.
Remus Virgile is an alias I assume when walking amongst your kind. But make no mistake, even in my human form, I have always had the strength of an ancient dragon.
I'm losing his voice, it's fine.
Until now, only the Lord of House Steelwind and the Kings of Wyvern have known my true identity.
Why does Steelwind get to know?
But I will hide no longer. My will alone will determine how this trial ends.
Great. Wow, I wonder if...
So that's why you're acting as arbiter.
Steve, no. Literally, Sarah, I was like, I guess he just dates a lot of Steelwinds.
You're the only person with the authority to convict any and all of the nobles here. Make no mistake, Mr. Cuthbert. I will remain impartial regardless of what transpires here. I will not interfere with this trial, nor will I manipulate its outcome. I will only mediate its proceedings, and pass judgment when necessary.
Well, that's certainly terrifying.
Now then, with introductions out of the way, shall we proceed? Of course, Your Grace. The prosecution is ready. The defense is also ready.
Yeah, the evil vizier uncle is the lawful good dragon.
I'm sure we're all thoroughly aware of why we're gathered here.
Oh, his age is 1,203, if you didn't notice.
But for the sake of doing this properly, would you please list the charges, Lucio? Maybe I'll find this voice again. Of course. The defendant, Horia Steelwind, is charged with several counts of manslaughter. Her victims included many knights from the Kingsguard who are still unresponsive, and of course there's Lord von Sanctus and Caroline Sybil, the heads of House von Sanctus and Lord House Sybil respectively.
What is this farce? The trial's been over before it began. Wait, they didn't mention Pierce.
Lady Steelwind has clearly overestimated herself. Even a child knows to be wary of mage blight.
No, don't you see? This is Bahamut's judgment. The divine power that be clearly thinks she's unfit to rule at the king's side.
Wait. Did they just forget to list Pierce? Or is that separate? I can't tell if that was intentional or not. That man's fucking dead.
Might I remind the court of my own testimony? I witnessed Beatrice Frege enter the prayer room before I lost consciousness. Isn't it suspicious that this occurred around 15 minutes before Pierce's death? If I recall correctly, you only got a glimpse of her. You don't know if it was someone else or disguised as an illusion. You didn't even speak to her. That's all the more reason to call her to the stand to explain herself. She has already testified that she has no memories of what had transpired during the massacre. There's no need to drag this out any longer than necessary, Cuthbert.
I'm gonna assume that Pierce was supposed to be on that list.
My client has a right to a fair trial, and Beatrice Frege's involvement clearly implies some sort of foul play. Enough. I find Mr. Cuthbert's request to be reasonable, and I agree that Lady Frege's actions are quite suspect. Very well, let the defense have his battle. I only hope for his sake that his blade strikes true. Why is everything a war metaphor with you?
Because he's a general, baby.
Okay, we're actually gonna stop right there before Ms. Demon. Actually, let's get to the first testimony. Sorry. I thought it was just gonna, like, pop us into it. Cross-exam. Give us a sec.
Beatrice?
I'm glad you're safe, Mr. Cuthbert.
Not for lack of trying on your part.
That wasn't... I have no memories of what I did. If I hurt you, I am truly sorry.
She actually looks pretty sincere, but it's not as if this is the first time she's lied to you. Eris, get the fuck out of here! We're doing a thing!
To be honest, I'm still a little doubtful about your memory loss.
But I'm not the only one who experienced it. Arya also has no memories of what happened.
And how would you take that?
Word travels fast and quickly in these dungeons.
What? Regardless, if you truly have no memory of what happened, could you testify about what you do remember? Perhaps there's a clue we haven't discovered yet.
Very well.
I'll do this and then we'll stop.
I was with my sisters and my guide, Eris Ilmater. I was speaking with them in the garden when suddenly I felt ill and lost consciousness. When I woke up, my sisters found me. They said I had gone missing for over an hour. I was confused, but when I later heard what happened, I realized that someone must have taken control of my body. I have no memories of what happened, and from what I understand, the same thing happened to Arya. And to make matters worse, it says nothing that indicates who may have controlled our actions.
So she's also saying that someone else was controlling her. Well, her testimony does match up with Arya's statement, but there's something off about the way she's testifying. If she were trying to lie with you, she would have been a lot more vague. What is she doing? And that's where we're gonna pause for tonight. I'm glad we actually kept going a little bit. But, mostly because we got the dragon reveal. Alright, thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. On Thursday, we will be playing more Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma. And hopefully, I will like it more than I did last week. If anything, I'm hoping I'm a little less nauseous because the camera movements were getting to me. On Friday, I don't know if we'll be doing something. I've recently just been skipping when Ronnie isn't available because I have been very, very tired. If Ronnie isn't available, I might just do a work stream because I desperately need to do one of those. But if I'm tired, I won't. If Ronnie is available, we're going to do AA4. And then next week we'll be here playing more of this, which I don't know how... This is the last case, so I can only imagine it's going to take a hot second. So I imagine we have like 2-3 streams left. And then we're going to figure out what we'll do on Monday. So, once it gets closer to the end, we'll discuss that. But thank you all for coming. I also miss our mom. Tamora, show up challenge. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. Have a good week. I'll see you all later. And good night and goodbye.